Hello and welcome to the Computer Game Show. I am Sean Bell. I'm joined by Matt Murray.
Hello.
And Sarah Dyer.
Hello.
We're in the last week of Weird Month where obviously
Summer
James
holidays.
is off. James is still off. Obviously, not even worth mentioning at this point. Dave is also off. He's on another holiday, isn't he?
Another one.
Yeah.
I think so, yeah. I forgot to ask.
At least with Matt, it was like you had like a work thing, you had a mate's holiday, and then a family holiday. Whereas I think Dave's on like his third family holiday.
Well, I mean, good luck to him.
Which,
Good luck to him.
He likes his family, fair enough. I can't criticise him for that.
I just squeezed mine in at the end. I did one pre-summer, and then I did one at the end, so I think
did
I'm
you?
right. Be all right.
Yeah, fair dues.
Still not enough, apparently, but I think I'm doing it. I think I've done enough.
We are going to start the show the way we always do, by thanking our Patreon producers for this month. The QuickBooks chap, Simon Nelson, Moomin Biscuit, Trans Rights of Human Rights, Dave Ernsberger, Colin Brown, Gasman, Rocketman76, Grey Dragon Claw, Smooth Monkey, Colin Smith, Richard Sawyer, John Tempelli, Jackie Sniper, Gordon Garrow, brackets, Safe As Records, Sam Higton, Jonathan Edwards, Fred Fenge, Tom S., Ryan Cobain, and Josh Hunt. All went to patreon.com/TCGS and did what I consider my favourite way to support the show. They all went full Nels, but there's other tiers there if you want to pay less money and not have your name read out on the show. We did our bonus pod this week, which was really good fun. We need to figure out what we're doing for the video thing. We very briefly mentioned it on WhatsApp today. We're like, oh yeah, Dave's gone now. I don't know what day James is back.
No, James will be back far too late. So yeah, we will. We'll find a co-op game we could play each other or argue at each other. I think
we won't argue, Matt. We never argue. It's fine.
Let's find something we can argue at. I don't know.
Yeah, let's destroy our friendship.
Yeah,
for money. Right. Farley fact. What are we doing with the Farley fact? Because I thought of one, but I think Matt, you said you had one you wanted to.
Yeah, I've got a genuine one. But,
okay, go on.
I mean, if we can do both. I mean, James is back next week, apparently, allegedly. Yeah. So this will be the last week of Farley facts. I obviously heard last week's show. I've got my feedback, and we're not sure if we want to start it now, but.
Do the fact first, and then we'll go
Okay.
on to...
Well, so a lot of people, and this is a genuinely true story. A lot of people know James like a Chelsea fan. Yeah, he tweets about Chelsea Football Club. We talks about him. It's like people know him as a Chelsea fan, but that wasn't always the case. It did actually start out like this is. I assume David knows this, but anyway, whatever. He was actually originally a West Ham fan. I think his dad took him to an early West Ham game, but I'm not sure if you're aware of this, Sean, and maybe Sarah, but like one of the. They do a thing when West Ham come out of their ground where there's like bubbles come out of the machine. It's all about I'm forever blowing bubbles and whatnot. You know, you've heard of this song.
Is this real?
Yeah, it's real.
Yeah.
Okay.
I know the song.
Yeah, and so basically, like he was at a game.
It's a terrible walkout song.
Yeah,
when you have Spurs using the Star Wars one, but
yeah, which I think is also just a bit cringe. But yeah, so James was at a game. I'm not sure how young, but he told me like very, very young with his dad. And when all the bubbles came out, either they went in his eye or he got upset or something happened. I'm not sure.
Right.
And then after that, basically, he said to his dad, like, I don't really want to be a West Ham fan. And then eventually found Chelsea.
Because of the bubbles?
Yeah, because of either he was scared or he went in his eye or he got upset. He said he was quite young. I'm not sure how old he said he was. But yeah, so that's basically why James is no longer a West Ham fan and people know him as a Chelsea fan.
Blimey. Because I always it always really interests me how people end up supporting a certain team, right? Because I know sometimes it's like, well, it's just my family team. I have literally no say in it. Some people make like a conscious decision, and some people apparently get bubbles in their eyes and change their mind.
It clearly affected him.
Or just horrifically traumatized.
Yeah.
One of the two. It's either physical or mental trauma has stopped him supporting West Ham.
Blimey.
And now he's a Chelsea fan. So what was your fact?
I was just going to mention that he can't drink water for like 2 hours before he does a show, or else he'd have to go for a wee.
Well, yeah, there's I mean,
but then I mean, he's a man of a certain age. You just assume that. By now,
that's a given.
Yeah. Sarah, have you got any Farley facts?
No.
Suppose you never. Yeah, because I suppose outside of actually doing the show, because he's not that active on social media or anything, is he? So you don't really
No,
He's quite inaccessible. Is our
yeah.
James.
I think out of all of you, he's probably the one I know the least well. He's an enigma. He's a man mystery.
He's an elusive man.
Yeah.
And that's
Yeah,
even when you're supposed
ambiguous.
to be doing a show with him once a week. He's still.
Don't know him.
He's a mystery.
I don't know the real man behind the mask.
Right, feedback. Matt, you were not here last week.
I wasn't.
And according to the doc, he's used capital letters to say that he got lots of feedback.
Well, I'm not sure if lots is really accurate, but I will say, first of all, it was a great show. We're just two of you. I think that's brave, but you did it, and it was a great show. I did find it funny how, and Dave mentioned this, so I'm obviously going to mention it myself, there's a lot of dragging out of stories, and yes, this is the stuff I get lambasted on every single bloody week.
Actually,
and
I saw it more as
on
like...
that show. Little tangents. Going off and wherever your mind wanders, that's great. But I get slammed down when I try to do it on this show. But I was like, over 2 hours. Like, come on, like that's surely crying out for like a 90-minute show.
I don't know how we did that. Well, we did it by talking loads of shit, obviously. But yeah, no, it sort of amused me that like we just kept bringing you and James up all the time, because it turns out that even when you're not here, it's like you exist in our heads to the point that like we can't just have a conversation without the two of you being brought up, which is probably a problem.
Understandable.
But yeah, no, we got loads of really nice feedback. We talked about this on the bonus show briefly, but I was saying, it's always mixed feelings when you miss a show and everyone's really nice about it. But I think it was just in response to the fact that like Dave and I were like, I have no idea how this is going to go. I don't know if anyone was going to like this. But yeah. Cheers.
Yeah, no, it was really, really good. So on the actual proper feedback, so Dave was talking about Red Dead 1, or the first Red Dead. No, actually, well, the Red Dead Redemption 1. Yeah. And he mentioned about a character he saw near the end, and you're like, don't worry, spoilers don't really matter. Well, I think it did matter, because it came out on Switch literally that week, so a lot of people were probably playing it for the first time.
Oh, no one's playing it for the first time on Switch, are they?
I bet lots of people are. The fact it's come on Switch. So, like, in week 1, you're like, yeah, this basically happens at the end.
But we didn't actually say... I mean, you get the baddie at the end. That was the thing we mentioned. But that's maybe there's more to it than that, Matt.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
Right. Maybe.
Is this you saying you've never played it?
I haven't, no. So you ruined it for me. I haven't finished it. Yeah, I can't remember how many hours I've played. But
maybe you should.
I'm not going to bother now, Sean, because you ruined the game for me.
Well, you play it on Nintendo Switch, mate.
Yeah.
I mean, he's probably saved you some money, because isn't it?
It's like 50
terrible.
quid.
And also, isn't it a really terrible port?
Oh no, I'd heard the Switch one was all right. Apparently, it's like marginally better than it was on the Xbox 360, which sounds like damning with faint praise. But yeah.
Yeah, if I was going to play it, I would just play it on my Series X.
All right.
I'm afraid.
Calm down.
Okay, so towards the end of the show, Sean, you went on our link tree and said, "Oh, what's this?" Like, it says TCGS on X. Yes, I changed that because I'm fucking professional, right? I changed it on all the link trees I'm managing. Yes, although I have had a thought today. I reckon he'll rebrand it back to Twitter.
You can turn it back.
I
mean, it wasn't even a dig at you. It's just despair about the whole X thing.
Oh no, yeah,
to be honest.
It is horrendous. But I
don't envy. Like, it's bad enough for me just having a personal X account and not knowing like where to go next and what have you. But like, obviously, you guys, like for your actual jobs, you need to figure out and navigate this weird new landscape of everyone using about 10 different Twitter successors.
I'm just digging my heels in. I'm still calling it Twitter. I'm still using it. What's really funny is when you bring up like work stuff. If you start to go into things like analytics or the media studio, all of that all still has the Twitter branding.
Right.
Like, yeah, loads of back end, rarely touched stuff is all still completely branded Twitter.
Yeah, it's an absolute disaster. But yeah, I think I saw a report today from like Matt Navarra, and it's about downloads being so massively down on X on the App Store. I wouldn't be surprised if there is like a total flip back round to Twitter at some point. But anyway, and someone asked about fantasy football. Now, there's been social posts about this, on our Instagram and Twitter. I'll give someone the code now. If someone wants to play the official TCGS FPL League, the Fantasy Football League. Here's the code to do it. Or just look at the Instagram post or the tweets. There's plenty of information out there. But if you do, the code is 122VC4. Just put that in and you can join over 150 other people playing on the TCGS Fantasy Football League. But there's been plenty of posts, so whoever asked, just follow us on social media, innit?
Do your own
I'm going to do
research.
that.
Do it. 122VC4, that's what you need. Just get involved.
I want to see how well I can do, not knowing anything about football.
Well, that was me last year, and I did come second to last. So
yeah, you know,
so
Sean was not quite last.
Everything to play for.
Exactly.
Yeah, 100%.
It's an inspiring underdog story.
Have you joined this year, Sean? Are you trying to improve?
I haven't yet. I mean, it's worth doing so just to see the funny team names that people come up with. Really enjoyed that last year.
Yeah, that's half the fun.
Yeah.
That's it for feedback. Yeah, good old showing that.
According to the doc, Sarah also wants to weigh in.
Yeah. So this was from not the last show, the one before.
Okay.
You had quite a lot of comments about the tutorials on Baldur's Gate 3.
Yeah.
And I had a thought then, and luckily you corrected yourself on last week's show when you were saying about how the game is so massively like open-ended, and it basically kind of wants you to like play around and just see what happens when you do different things. And that's exactly why the tutorial system isn't super strict. It's because like the whole thing with D&D, like the motto is basically like fuck around and find out. And also everyone is always horny all of the time. So they've completely nailed that with the game.
Yeah.
So.
The horniness is actually I'll talk about it in a bit. It's genuinely getting a bit much. That's
the thing that's tempted me most. What's that line you mentioned last week?
It's just
you have to go in. You have to
go on.
You have to just go with that. You have to go in on it. Like you can't. Don't resist it. Just go for it.
I'll mention, obviously I'll talk about this in what you've been playing, but yeah, I'll just talk around this now. It's just like you can't just have a nice time with your mates.
No,
without the game being like, oh, you've just realised this is really intimate. Do you want to, do you want to make a move? And I'm like, no, I thought I was just hanging around with my wizard friend.
That's just D&D. The two times I've played like tabletop role plays, it's just devolved into absolute debauchery.
Yeah, I think I need to play this game.
So hang on. So I've played tabletop RPGs before, but so do you mean like the players will have sex with each other, or
no,
you'll shag NPCs?
Neither. I don't know if I can tell the story.
Are you breaking confidences if you answer this?
No, it's not breaking confidences. I just don't know if it's a bit much for.
Okay, no, don't worry about being too much.
I'm not saying like, do you all start having sex in real life? Like, I know, like I can see it being funny to be like, Matt, should we
let's fuck. Sarah, you can't.
No, it wasn't.
Do that and not tell us the story.
So in the game we were playing, it was very much like a kind of beginner's scenario. All of us were doing it for like the first time, and basically like our group of characters came across like a bunch of orcs, and we fought the orcs, and like one of the orcs was like gravely injured, and he pulled out.
I'm getting nervous now.
And he pulled out a photo of his wife, and he's like, "This is like, please let me go, like." This is my wife. She's my orc wife. She's waiting for me back at camp. And so one of the other players was like, "Oh well, I'm just gonna take the picture of the orc wife," and started masturbating over her.
Wow.
Oh.
Okay.
And he was a wizard though, so like his long
so it's fine.
So like his long robes covered everything. So like it wasn't like anything was exposed.
Oh, okay, because he had big robes.
It was all covered. Under, but because obviously they're big flowing robes, you still have like a lot of movement. And...
It's just Gandalf getting busy.
Yeah, and
still feels like a kind of assault.
Yeah, we were trying to stop him, but
but how can you?
He was a wizard. But
on that note, we got any other feedback, Matt? About last week?
I'm not sure I can go on. Yeah, let's go for regular feedback. Yeah. Last week you talked about Rod Stewart. Or he popped up on a question.
Oh, this isn't going to improve things at all. Go on.
Kieran has messaged us. Rod Stewart. Even just hearing his name reminds me of one of my favourite urban myths ever. That Rod Stewart once ingested... Oh, okay. That Rod Stewart once ingested so much semen that it had to get his stomach pumped. Really enjoyed the two-man show and the show in general. I've fallen off podcasts for a while, but it's nice to be back listening to TCGS on the reg.
Is it though?
Not after this opening 15 minutes.
Is that because? No,
yeah, I've never heard this before.
No, I just meant, is it a thing that you can swallow so much cum that you have to get your stomach pumped?
Well, last year we did the milk challenge.
It was a bit like that. Yeah, so it's not right. So it's not that the semen in of itself is
milk race
unpalatable. It's just that the sheer volume of it.
I think James will win that.
He'd be really good at that, wouldn't he?
Okay.
Maybe that's
like last year, and go through and proudly announce to his wife that he won the competition. Sorry, James. That's too far. That is too far. What's the next bit of feedback, man?
The episode titles on this could be anything right now. Cammy T has messaged. Hi lads, really enjoyed the show this week. I've started listening because I'm mates with Sean. I've never had a Ploughman's and I don't know the Muffin Man, but I heard his sound.
Excellent. You've never had a Ploughman's? Have you two had a Ploughman's?
Yeah,
No.
of course.
Have you had an actual Ploughman's, or have you had a Ploughman's sandwich?
Oh, wow, this is a sex thing again.
No, this is a... Sorry, this is an Ellis and John Radio 5 thing. They've had this ongoing argument about, what constitutes a Ploughman's and how many people...
What does?
I don't know. It's not been very clear. My understanding is that a Ploughman's lunch is basically a bit of bread, a fucking hunk of cheese, some fruit, usually an apple or something, some chutney, and maybe some ham, some cuts of cold cuts.
It's a charcuterie board, but without any of the wankery.
Yeah, basically.
It's a good working man's charcuterie.
Exactly.
Where are the chips?
I suppose you can really have potatoes in a... No.
Okay. So Cameron's also never had a plan. That's good. Right. Sanan O'Neill. Hey guys, just finished listening to this week's episode of the Computer Game Show. Dubiously named, given the distinct lack of the titular topic discussed this episode, and I just wanted to let you know that I absolutely fucking adore this podcast. Far and away my favourite, should 100% feature on whatever Kane and Rince funded list of the best British gaming podcasts that was. And having started listening during the pandemic, I've now gone back and have roughly only 50 episodes from 2016 that I haven't listened to yet in due time. This week's episode perfectly encapsulates what I love about the show, and it's absolutely all over the place and largely incoherent, but I love listening to Dave and Sean chatting bollocks and still having interesting insight into everything they discussed. Matt and James are missed. Thanks. I mean, you fucking left that late, didn't you? Jesus. Maybe start with that. Matt and James are missed, but it does give me the opportunity to request that Farley Facts culminates with the one fact to rule them all. What did James say on the bus? Anyways, much love from Ireland, and apologies for all the brackets. From Sanan. Hopefully I'm pronouncing your name correctly.
It's Shannon, I think.
Yeah.
I only know because it's sort of like my name, with an extra letter in it. No, we're never going to reveal what Farley said on the bus. Maybe if the show is definitely ending forever one day. But even then, it's better that it lives in your imaginations. That makes it sound like it's a really disappointing thing that it's not. But yeah. I mean, the fact that we genuinely turned down a large sum of money to reveal this, kind of says it all.
Yeah, that was stupid, wasn't it?
Yeah. But yeah, thank you for the feedback, much appreciated.
Yeah, it was okay, that episode. Capone Adam, glad to hear Sean finally raised the morality issue regarding the bet, i.e. how would a tattooist feel about someone coming and requesting a funny tattoo on their bum as a result of a bet? Surely this would be exactly the same as waltzing into a small artisan bakery, asking them to create a funny little pie to throw at someone's face. I think I have the perfect solution for this. Surely among your many fans, someone out there is a tattooist or knows someone that is. Have them attend a future TCGS con and do it during the live show.
I mean, as funny as that would be, getting a tattoo actually takes quite a long time. So unless it was, I mean, in 2 hours, what can you get done in 2 hours, Sarah? Not
It's
a
not
lot.
really a massive tattoo, is it?
I mean, I think it probably should be a massive tattoo.
I'm not getting a sleeve.
Yeah.
Sorry, Sarah,
well, I mean, I can imagine that whatever it is, isn't going to take long.
No.
Okay.
Like, but the whole thing about how would a tattooist feel about someone coming in requesting a funny, they wouldn't care.
Okay.
They're getting paid for it. Like the amount you hear about artists who are absolutely sick of having to do like infinity symbols and like a tree that like breaks away into some birds or a dream catcher or whatever. Like someone coming in and being like, I've done a bet. Here's a dumb tattoo. They'll be like, am I going to get paid at the end of it? Cool. Yeah, let's do it. Like,
it's funny, like, because I remember, like, sort of 10, 15 years ago, I remember, like, it was like a thing that, like, a lot of tattooists would never do, like, hands or faces.
Yeah, I mean,
and now, like,
that's still very much a rule.
Is it? Okay.
Yeah, like the majority of good artists will not tattoo you tattoo you on hands, face, or neck unless you already have like a lot of coverage.
Right.
But I mean, the only thing I can think that someone might not want to do is maybe tattoo on the bum.
Yeah.
But if you move it to like a leg or maybe like that's actually really hard to tattoo.
I can imagine.
Because the skin's so loose.
Yeah.
So because obviously when you're getting tattooed, like the skin has to be quite like tight.
Taut.
So
that's the problem with getting
stretching
a
it.
tattoo on the bum, right? Unless you work out.
Speak for yourself, Sean.
I don't think it's as bad.
Yeah.
No, it's obviously nowhere near as bad as a scrotum.
Yeah. Few things are.
Yeah. But they might. It depends like where on the bum you're thinking, because you could do it like at the very, very top of the thigh, just by like the edge of the cheek, or on like kind of like your hip. Yeah. Almost like the top.
It needs to be high enough. It needs to be in the right position whereby most people aren't going to see it. But if you need to show someone in a pub, you could just pull your jeans down a bit.
To see it. Reveal.
I mean, like I think the key thing is ultimately you're probably not going to be going to someone who's got like a 6 to 8 month waiting list.
Yeah, fair point.
No, I've opened my books. I'm like, brilliant, day one, let's go. 500 quid deposit.
Chances are you're going to be finding someone who you can do a walk-in with a couple weeks later. So they're going to be the ones who will be like, yeah, cool, whatever. Like you're paying for it, so I literally don't care as long as I'm not doing like a scrotum.
Yeah.
And you're all clearly adults and no one is getting actually like forced or coerced into it. They'll be like, yeah, fuck it, I get paid for it. Doesn't matter.
James will seem like he's being coerced, to be fair.
Yeah.
He's not going to be enthusiastic. Be like marching him in.
You're just going to have to go in there with like loads of other like clips and things from him and just be like, no, this is what he's always like, and here is all
this
is
the highlight. This is the show reel. This is why we're doing this.
There's a body of evidence as to why this is happening. Promise he does want it.
Yeah.
Can't wait.
I mean, also we're going to go in with Sean and the full camera crew, so it's going to be quite a scene.
Yeah, we're going to make a documentary about it. Is that annoying for a tattooist? I don't know.
What if you have a full film crew?
If you rocked up on the day, yes.
Oh no, we'd let them know beforehand, obviously.
Yeah. It might be a case of you might have to maybe pay a little bit extra. Like if it's like quite a small studio, they might be like, right, well, we can't have anyone else in.
Right, sure.
At this point,
we need to rent out the entire venue because we need to do, talking heads. We need to do some B-roll.
Well, because like a lot of tattoo studios, when you go to get tattooed, sometimes some will be like, no one else is allowed to come back with you. Literally, just down to the fact that we have got like no space, and one extra person hanging around is you're just getting in the way.
Yeah.
Sometimes you'll maybe be allowed like one person. So you'd probably be all right if you could angle in a way and you were just there with just like a GoPro. That would probably be okay.
And I think Sean wanted like a a DOP,
I was
cinematographer.
gonna take my camera
lights,
boom microphone.
Yeah,
lights you
Best
wouldn't
boy.
need to worry about because
Oh, that's true. Yeah, 'cause it's all super bright, right?
Yeah, they've already got like really powerful ring lights and overhead lights and stuff, so you're sorted with that.
Cool.
Just mic James up with like a little lapel mic.
Oh yeah, I'll just give him one of the wireless ones that we ended up not using at the live show.
Yeah,
get our money's worth. It'll be fine.
You're sorted.
What's the next bit of feedback?
Probably me. Ben, all right, lads, really love the bants from the Muffin Men last episode. I feel the two muffins carried the show quite well, but let's face it, they are the two main ones. I noticed Muffin 2 referred to Quake 2 showing up in Game Pass as free. Sean is definitely not in the minority, as many others do this also. I'm in the mindset that I paid for it and continue to do so with my subscription fee. Surely you don't refer to the latest episode, whatever TV show you pay for, with a subscription service as free. I first heard of your pod on the Excellent Player One show when CJ sang praises about your GOTY format. It was a revelation to me, and you lot have also always been my most looked forward to show of the week. Love you, Ben from Oregon. P.S. Eat my shorts.
Will do. Thank you, Ben.
Eat my shorts.
I just want to notice. I've just noticed. I want to point out, like, oh yeah, really nice first paragraph. The two muffins carried the show quite well. They're the two main ones, etc., etc. And then refers to me as muffin number 2, completely unforced. Like, it's like David isn't even mentioned after that first paragraph.
Maybe it's like timings. Like
maybe
Dave spoke first on that episode, so he's number 1.
Like,
and then you came in second, so you're number 2.
Yeah, in order of appearance, Muffin 1, David, Muffin 2, Sean.
I'll accept that. Everyone knows what you mean when you say a Game Pass game is free.
Yes, come on.
I think, especially in the case of something like Quake 2. So, like, Starfield. I wouldn't say that Starfield was free, right? But because Quake 2 was something that just appeared out of nowhere on the service that I pay for anyway for other reasons, it did, it has that feeling of like, oh, that's a gift that's just arrived in my life. Which
it's like when you get a refund.
Yeah.
Like when you get a refund from something.
Yeah.
Then that's just free money.
It feels like extra money rather than
money.
Rather than just bringing you back to where you were before.
Yeah. It is weird. Yeah, I mean, no one would ever do that. Have the same terminology for something called Netflix, but for Game Pass, it just feels apt. I guess because we've been paying for games for so long. But then, I guess TV, we've had a TV license, but then TV shows just are on the TV, and so Netflix is now just on the TV, even though we're kind of paying for it. Yeah. But with games, it feels like it's the opposite, whereby we've always been paying for them. Now they're suddenly available, even though, yes, obviously we're paying for a subscription.
Plus, like, Netflix don't charge for some shows. Do you know what I mean?
No.
Like, you pay Netflix subscription. Oh, yeah, we'll get you these TV shows and films for free. But then actually, there's a load more that you do have to pay for. I think you would then refer to the subscription ones as being, you'd be more likely to refer to them as free, right?
Yeah. I mean, I guess really like, the longhand is free with the subscription. We're just saying free because we can't bother with the other words. I mean, come on, Ben.
Waste of time, Ben.
Yes. Next one, Sean Bell Appreciation Society, which sounds like a made-up organisation, but it's actually real and they're registered and everything. I've checked on Company's House; they are a legit business. I'm shocked at Matt's statement that he made most of his friends at work. What kind of nonsense is this? Surely the people you work with are just a collection of people you are paid to spend time with, and the sooner you can be away from them, the better. P.S. Eddie Gibson was excellent on the show a few weeks back. Yeah, so obviously I've got like friends from home and friends from uni and stuff, but when I moved to Leeds, I didn't have any of that. No family, no friends, etc. So all the friends I built from Leeds are just ones I've worked with, essentially, which I think is normal. I mean, I had no family up here.
I think you are particularly lucky. Like, I've not made any like long-term friends from work, like, ever. But then I've never worked in an industry I really give a shit about either. So
that's what I was. I'm sorry, go on.
No, you're gone.
I was just gonna say, I think that's just like a games industry thing, because like the people you work with, are just a collection of people. That is very much like every job I've had prior, apart from like a couple of retail jobs I had when I was like 20, and you all just go out and get pissed afterwards. But I don't speak to any of them now. But yeah, like when maybe it's just because we're all just weird nerds who are all just kind of quite similar. The
Yeah, do you think there's an element of like if you're working in video games and you really love video games, where else are you gonna make friends, right?
yeah, and yeah, I think it's also because like a lot of the people that I work with, like a lot of us have other things outside of games that like we don't share.
Yeah.
But there's definitely like enough of a crossover, and yeah, I think everyone's. It's a particular type of person that I think Matt might agree with.
But I mean, I've only been in games for like it'll be 3 years in September, but like before that it was like 11 years in agencies. But then
you made friends at the agencies and stuff as well.
Yeah. I mean, I made up friends for life there. So I'm also probably a very similar type of person or mindset, and I don't know. I've just always made friends wherever I've been, but maybe.
You see, whereas I'm so ill-suited at my job, and and like there's plenty of people I get on with, but just I was saying the other week about the whole we want you to bring your full self to work.
Yeah,
no, you would regret that.
Yeah. So I don't know. I don't think that is weird. Considering I moved like away from home, if I stayed at home or stayed where I went to uni, it'll be different. But that's just how it's worked out for me.
Matt's just got loads of friends.
He's got loads
wherever
of
he goes.
Yeah,
he's just he's magnetic.
Well, there's that. Or I just don't leave people alone. And
don't let people leave your life.
He's back. I mean, I've got friends. They may not count me as a friend. It must be very, very one-sided. We're going to end with Jay Sainsbury, item duplication glitch in real life. Sean states on last week's show that he'd never have to go shopping again if he can just duplicate items in real life. I have to disagree with this. Anything fresh would still need buying, as for example, why you could keep a bottle of milk to duplicate from. It would continue to age, passing along its current state to a newly formed duplicated item. Fancy some rotten lettuce, you can make more of that, but at least you didn't have to go to a shop. Look forward to seeing you make your trip on Wednesday evening. However, I did have to dock Sean 375 nectar points.
Yeah, no, this is a really good point. Because even if you were like really quickly like, right, I've just cloned that bottle of milk. Now I can like if you were cloning it really quick, I should whack the microphone really sorry, I'm really passionate about this. If you kept quickly like cloning stuff really quickly and like freezing it, there would still be like a bit. There'd be like seconds of like degradation every time, right? and over the years it would add up. So yeah, that is a very good point, Jay Sainsbury. Thank you for pointing out the error of my ways.
Yeah, I also like Dave saying I'm just going to duplicate as £1 coins. Like that wouldn't do your nothing after about 5 minutes. And like £50 notes, like most of them, you can't. Shops don't even take them anymore.
I was going to say you can do 50s. So everyone just like, well, no.
And then what you want to do like loads of 20s, but then you take them to your bank. They're like, where's this money come from? You're like, I can't really explain it. And
also notes have got the serial numbers, right?
Yeah, so you have loads.
So you don't want to do notes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think neither yourself or David really thought us through, Sean. So
no.
I think if anything, that's a negative for last week's show.
It's a dreadful superpower to have.
Yes, it's a curse. That is it for feedback. Go to tcgs.co/deartcgs. Leave your feedback.
I decided I didn't want to do the news this week. partly I just didn't want to, and also I thought it would be really fun if Sarah did it.
Yeah.
Would you like to tell us the news, Sarah?
Well, there's not a lot because
I did immediately feel really bad because we were like, oh, I'll give her a hand, like looking some of the stories up, and I was like, oh no, this is dreadful. This is really
But it's the news. The news is crap because it's Gamescom this week, so no one's doing anything.
So next week is going to be amazing.
I hope. Well,
actually, go on.
Well, according to Geoff Keighley, again, just like at the Game Awards, we should temper our expectations. Yeah, that's what he said.
It's not a good look that he's done this twice now, is it?
Yeah, and also, no one's ever going to do that. But
No,
Yeah,
they're not.
good point.
But yeah, you're
Even
right.
if
He did say it's at Summer Game Fest, and but again, and I was defending him at the time, and got getting people, saying stop, stop getting close to Geoff Keighley and supporting him whenever you can. But it's not that. It's like he can only deliver the news that's out there. Like if there's nothing, if we're still in a cycle where we're waiting like another 2 or 3 years for like the big games with I don't know delays, COVID, etc., like what can he do? It's disappointing for us, but my God.
I mean, he has said that this year's show will be less about announcing brand new projects, and instead it's obviously much more like updates. There is a list of what's already been confirmed.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if anyone wants to know what has
already
been confirmed.
Let's hear what we're going to
what we are going to see. There's a new trailer for Alan Wake 2, a new trailer for Black Myth Wukong. I don't know what that is. Fort Solis. I don't know what that is. Is that the spooky space thing? It's got Troy Baker in it.
Oh.
I think it's one of the spooky space things. You remember, was it?
Yeah, because there's one year where there's like 40 space games.
Yeah, I think it was like E3 last year. So there's that. Assassin's Creed.
Yeah, that looks well like your sort of thing, Matt.
Yeah. It does look pretty cool.
Because there was one that looked... There's one that kind of had the same kind of vibes as like PT in terms of graphical style, and then there's one that's much more stylized.
I think Fort Solis is the kind of much more photorealistic one.
Yeah.
For Fort Solis, Assassin's Creed Mirage, Nightingale, which is a kind of steampunk magic survival game that actually does look pretty cool. Crimson Desert, I don't know what that is. Mortal Kombat 1, a look at the Cyberpunk 2077 Phantom Liberty DLC.
Oh god, yeah, that's quite soon, isn't it? Because
Mm-hmm.
what we all need is more massive games to play at the moment.
I mean, it's just DLC. I think you'll be alright.
I know, but it sounds like a really good reason to revisit the whole thing.
Yeah, because this also brings loads of other quite substantial changes to the main game, doesn't it?
Yeah. Well, that's what they've said, and I hope it's true, because that would be really nice to just have. I mean, I wouldn't play the whole thing again, but yeah, it would be cool to go back. And
it's
not
just
just
like
for
the
DLC.
year. Isn't it the biggest year for big games? I mean, we've had. There's probably ones I'm missing, but obviously we've got Zelda, we've got Diablo, we had Final Fantasy 16, we've got Starfield.
Yeah,
we've
Armored
got
Core 6, obviously.
Yeah.
I mean, hopefully that won't be massive, but Baldur's Gate 3 as well.
We've got Diablo 4. It's been like a year of massive games. As in just
too many.
Yeah, just like ones where you playing all them in a year. That's back to back to back, and they're all like 100+ hour games.
Well, I mean, we've also got a story trailer for Lords of the Fallen, not to be confused with the previous Lords of the Fallen.
Also
new news for Sonic. For Sonic Superstars, and also the gameplay premiere for Modern Warfare 3. Not to be confused with the previous Modern Warfare 3.
Yeah, definitely a new one.
Good thing they say they weren't doing a new Call of Duty this year, and then...
No, they are back to it with this new one.
Cool.
Yes, I mean, this is just, I don't know, it's a bit of a... I mean, loads of these games will probably be really, really good, but for someone who likes new announcements and new news, this doesn't really go do much for me. But
I mean, that's not everything. There is going to. I was looking for just something to talk about. I did have a look to see whether there had been like a leaked image of here's everything which is going to be hit, just so we could go through and just be like whether it's going to be nonsense or not. I couldn't find that. I did find an article that was like, predictions for what's going to be. So I was like, okay, we can go through like predictions and be like, is this nonsense? And it was basically just someone basically writing, well, they announced Elden Ring and Sekiro and Armored Core at some of Geoff's stuff, so maybe it'll be a new FromSoft thing. Also, Geoff is friends with Kojima, so maybe we'll get some Death Stranding too. And that was literally it. So I was like, cool, thanks.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
Thanks for the insight. I mean, as if FromSoft would announce something new when Armored Core 6 is about to come out
that'd
this
be
week.
Absolutely ridiculous.
That would be insane.
Exactly.
Hey, home.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's a bit disappointing, but I don't know. I mean, I don't know if we're going to have it. I don't think it's quite early, isn't it? It's like 7 o'clock, so I don't think we'll be doing the talks over.
Which is just on the cusp of Isaac's bedtime. So if like dinner is like a military operation, I could probably stream it. But I don't know, probably not. I'll watch it, but yeah.
But if you were Geoff, would you say this to avoid disappointment and then have an absolute bang up your sleeve, or just say this to avoid everyone kicking off afterwards?
Because it's been the latter before, right?
But you would still want, like, even this may be the case, I still think there's going to be something. It will probably not be big, but he'll be like, hey, well, didn't expect this, did you? And
I was going to say, I mean, yeah, like, as is like often the way with these things, hopefully there'll just be one or two, like, mild surprises that we just didn't see coming at all, either because we didn't know about them or whatever. And they'll secretly be the most interesting thing there. And that's fine. Sure. But yeah.
Yeah. Do you want some good news?
Yeah.
Wow.
I love some good news.
Kind of good news.
Go on.
So good news.
Yeah, I was going to say that was very quick.
I was like, well,
actually, it's bad news.
Well, it's good news, and then like slightly. But anyway, the good news is that Charles Martinet is not dead.
Oh, this was so weird. Go on.
So Sean sent me this tweet that Nintendo of America put out. And the actual tweet says, "We have a message for fans of the Mushroom Kingdom. Please take a look." And it's, a red image, just red with text on it. And it says, "Charles Martinet has been the original voice of Mario in Nintendo games for a long time, as far back as Super Mario 64. So,
at that point, I was like, "Oh my god!"
Because that sort of format, that template, is the we're having to comment on a nasty political situation.
Yeah, or someone's died,
or a game's been delayed, or someone's died. Yeah.
Yep. But no,
the three main messages in life.
The good news is that he's not dead. But the slightly sad news is Charles is now moving into the brand new role of Mario Ambassador. With this transition, he will be stepping back from recording character voices for our games, but he'll continue to travel the world, sharing the joy of Mario and interacting with you all. It's been an honor working with Charles to help bring Mario to life for so many years, and we want to thank and celebrate him. Please keep an eye out for a special message from Shigeru Miyamoto and Charles himself, which we will post at a future date."
I mean, what a strange way of just announcing that he's stepping down, but you'll still see him at cons and stuff.
Yeah. And also, I feel like this new job, the way that they're like, "Oh, he's going to be traveling the world," but that sounds like more work.
Yeah, it does.
Like he's I don't know how old he is, but he's getting on a bit at this point, right? Yeah, he's not a young man, so they're like, "Here, do a more strenuous
job.
We're
going to ship you out to all these cons, all these things."
Yeah,
you
could just have a nice, quiet slide into retirement. Just make yourself a nice little VO booth in your house. Not have to travel. No more voice work for you.
Yeah, so
now it is just.
We don't want you to do the voice anymore, but we also can't afford your redundancy package, Charles.
But we can afford to send you out. Yeah, it's cheaper to ship you around the world.
Yeah.
All expenses paid, basically, then pay you off, given you're doing it so long.
Average pay for Mario ambassadors is not as good as.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I would take being Mario ambassador over my current job.
Well, did you apply?
I didn't, to be fair.
Well, then you can't complain, Sean.
Didn't know the role was open.
You can only complain if you've actually done something about it. And
I think
from what I'm seeing, it sounds like you've done very little about this Mario Ambassador job.
I'm get my solicitor on to Nintendo about the hiring processes.
Yeah.
Because
you should have a look on Glassdoor. There's loads of people kicking off about it.
Yeah.
Also,
do you think really good job.
Do you think this is because Chris Pratt did such a good job in the Mario movie that they've decided that it's Chris Pratt now in all the games?
I mean, he was fine in the film, but it's not. Yeah.
Oh, imagine.
Ditch Charles.
I wonder if the new Mario voice or whoever's doing it will try and ape a bit of what Chris Pratt did in the movie, because it is a different voice. I mean, not just because it's a different person, but it is a different style of voice, isn't it? So I wonder if they'll try and align it with And the movie it's obviously done incredibly well. Which
I hope not. I mean, surely it's just that at this point they've got enough recordings of Charles Martinet doing the voice. How many
I
new
don't know.
samples
There's always
do you
going to be
need?
new dialogue and new requirements for every game.
Is there though in a Mario game? Right, we've got Yahoo,
Probably.
Ow, Mamma Mia.
That's a good point.
What else do you want?
You've got all them. No.
Well,
Yeah.
that does actually smoothly segue into the AI nonsense double bill of news.
James, I hope you're paying attention to this, because this is how it's fucking done. I'm
seeing the opportunities and I'm taking them.
Yeah.
So High Res Studios, who have made Smite, which is like League of Legends but Greek gods or something. I don't know.
It's like third person, right?
It's fine.
It's somehow still massive, right? Even though I've tried it and did not get anything from it at all. But
it's fine. But they have basically updated policies for voice actor contracts and the use of generative AI technology. So the contract, a previous version of the contract basically said that the studio would be allowed to reproduce the actors' voices using AI if they were dead or incapacitated.
Wow.
I hate that that's the clause, not just if they decide to leave, they decide that they're not going to be part of the project anymore. But no, if they're dead or incapacitated, that's when they get to use it, which is horrific. But the contract has been changed so that it now covers. It now says client agrees not to use sublicense. I feel like there should be a word "or" in there, and it's confusing me. So basically, client agrees not to use the performance to simulate talent's voice or likeness or create any synthesized or digital double voice or likeness of the talent. So basically, they've updated their contracts to say we are not going to touch AI to make versions of our hired actors' voices, which is good, which is really good, especially because obviously the writer strikes that are on in the US,
that's all
one of the very, very key points that they are striking over is this exact situation. And what is it? I saw a TikTok the other day, and it was Turk from Scrubs, and he was talking about this exact thing, and he was like, I would hate for if after I've passed on to have my friends and family see a digital AI version of myself saying things I never would have said in real life, doing projects I never would have done, or, putting my name and my likeness to, like brands or adverts or projects that I would have never touched in real life, like when I was alive. So that's good. But then
how many studios are not making this change? And
and there is. So the second part of this AI nonsense corner, it could be good, it could not be good. So Take-Two is basically DMCA Take did a takey downy of a GTA 5 mod, which basically used generative AI to make it so that you can have conversations with NPCs. So there's one part of the AI that generates all of the text, and then another piece of AI which generates like voiceover and stuff for it. Take-Two basically sent out the lawyers to basically get this mod fully taken down, but haven't said why. It seems like the mod is not violating any sort of GTA policies. So it could be, this is like completely my personal opinion, someone might know more, or it might come out that neither of these are true, but I feel like they might have done this because either they want nothing to do with this sort of AI procedural generative nonsense anywhere near any of their projects, or it's maybe because they want to do it themselves. Maybe. maybe. I'm hoping it's either neither of those and a third better option, or it's the first one. But
yeah. I mean, either way, it's a shame. After I think it was just last week. We talked about the fact that Rockstar had brought like a bunch of modders in house who were working on like role playing mod stuff. So yeah, to find out that they are still just shutting other modders down, and like however you feel about AI stuff, I feel like a small team of modders doing stuff with GTA using AI stuff is like about as defensible as a case as you can get, right? Because it's like a small team of people trying to produce something in a massive, expensive AAA game. Like, obviously, they're never going to be able to get a team of writers and actors and all the rest of it. I don't know. Am I talking shit? I don't know.
No, I mean, obviously, GTA doesn't have the same kind of tools that Fortnite does, but then look at what all the games, experiences, and content, and these things have been produced using that kind of stuff. And I think people are trying to do the same with GTA, even though it doesn't have the same policies and features, really.
I mean, so it's just one guy. Well, one person.
It's just one guy, right? Okay.
Wow, one person. They're just known under the name Block.
Right.
BLOC. So I did have a look into it because it's basically it's essentially two different like AI tools. I did look into because what the basically the written dialogue for the NPCs is it's just a chatbot, and they're like, oh, but this puts like character traits over it, and it's like, but GPT can do that. Like you're literally making it seem like you're reinventing the wheel, but you're not. But I mean, that's AI grifters in a nutshell. Anyway, oops, sorry, I'm getting political in the news.
No, oh god, the iTunes reviews now, Sarah.
And I mean, the 11 Labs is the company that basically provides the actual like spoken dialogue. Right. So basically it's a text to speech tool. So this guy's basically running basically using a chatbot to generate the written dialogue and then running it through this text to speech. The text speech company says that, oh, we're ethical and we're also fully committed to respecting intellectual property rights and actioning misuse. So yeah, I mean,
one modder taking this approach is very different to Rockstar going, this is how we make GTA now. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
like it's like you would play the mod and be like, yeah, do you know what? Like it's a bit wonky. Like some of the dialogue doesn't seem quite right. Like you would spot that stuff, but you'd be like, but that's just the price you pay for playing like a mod made by one person. But yeah, if this was like how they generate, like if this is just how it was done, right? And this is how, if you're gonna make a game the scale of like a new GTA, then these are the tools you got to use, and that would just make games worse, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, it's I think if Take-Two or GTA or Rockstar, ever actually say why, then I guess that'll clear this up, because like they haven't said any reason why they've done this.
So, I suppose they have to, really, do they? So we'll probably never find out. But
oh, I mean, actually, just looking on IGN, the project had raised a number of ethical issues around the use of AI for mods. The 11 Labs voice library was recently used to generate controversial AI voices used in not safe for work Skyrim mods.
Oh, good. Okay, maybe that's a reason why.
So it could just be that Rockstar are just like, we just don't want anything AI anywhere near the game. But yeah, who knows? Maybe one day we'll find out, hopefully.
Interesting.
But yeah, that's the AI nonsense corner. I'm sure there'll be more at some point.
Yes.
But just a couple of small things. The Xbox 360 store is closing So you will not be able to purchase games, DLC, and content from the store on 360 consoles.
Oh, that's right. But you can still buy backward compatible stuff on the newer consoles, right?
Yeah, basically. Complete non-story, but it's an
It's-
Xbox
yeah.
thing.
Yeah.
That's the
it's one of those,
closest
isn't
thing
it?
to a big story.
Yeah, like it's one of those where it's
Yeah,
like
this is their big Gamescom news.
Yeah.
This is the big announcement.
Yeah, it's one of those things where it's obviously it's not good news, because there will be people who still just have an Xbox 360, but yeah, I kind of think that's fair enough. July 2024, they're turning it off.
Yeah.
I think that's enough time, isn't it?
Yes, I think that's fair. That's probably fair.
I mean, also as well as like who I would love to know like the exact numbers of people who are still on a 360 and also connected to the internet and regularly downloading stuff.
That's
Yeah.
true. But yeah, if
Very
you have still
small
got a
Venn
360,
diagram.
you're probably not playing stuff online at this point.
No.
Probably.
Yeah. And then well, the last one was kind of funny. So the Edinburgh military tattoo is basically something that happens up at Edinburgh Castle every August for the duration of the Fringe. You might have seen it. I think the BBC or ITV, one of the channels, televises it like each year. It's basically the army comes out and walks around and some music's played and it's basically like a big parade. I don't know why anyone watches it. Apparently it's a really impressive show. But this year they played a bunch of video game music and they had some stuff from Dragon Age Inquisition and also Battlefield 2. I mean, Battlefield 2 kind of makes sense because, you know, both Battlefield 2 and the military tattoo are just like, hey, war, military, it's really great.
It is.
But the really funny thing is they played a piece of music from Final Fantasy VII, and it's from the opening of the game, and the piece of the music is called Bombing Run, and it plays as you and the rest of the cast of heroes are breaking into the Mako reactor to just go and do a little bit of terrorism and bomb a reactor. Because in Final Fantasy VII you play as a gang of eco-terrorists.
I wonder who makes these decisions.
All I can think is that they saw the name Bombing Run and thought, but that's what we do, and then didn't read
Bombing's
into
good.
and didn't read into any of the context within the game.
Or was it just some, like, whoever got to make the decision just thought it was cool and they really like Final Fantasy VII?
It's a great bit of music, to be fair, and it does sound really good in this video. And this video just linked in the Eurogamer piece.
Yeah, it is
impressive.
It is really good. But yeah, I just think that was really funny.
How strange! Yeah, there is a video of it. I will watch that. I mean, I don't know. Yeah, will I actually? I don't know. I can imagine it. I don't think I need to see it and hear it. I don't know if that's not going to add anything.
Not really. Just listen to the actual piece of music from, to be honest, either the original or the remake. The remake's soundtrack does a really good job of updating the music from the original, but the version from the original game is still incredible. Like, it still completely holds up. So yeah, maybe listen to both.
Yeah. You do wonder if like this sort of thing is going to happen more and more, just as the people who make these decisions just happen to be people who grew up playing games. Like, I don't know. I feel like back in the day, it was like whenever you heard video game music in something, it was like, what? How the fuck did that happen? Whereas now it's like, yeah, of course, some people who work in TV or film or live events or whatever play games. Like, should not be that shocking, but it kind of still is.
I mean, I'm a little bit more cynical. I mean, the US Army uses video games as a recruitment tool quite extensively. They opened up a Discord and people were doing speed runs to get banned from the US Armed Forces Discord. because the strat they were using was basically to go in and post Wikipedia links to the list of US war crimes.
Fucking.
but there's loads of videos of people basically introducing it and doing it and commentating like regular speed runs, and it's genuinely hilarious. It's really
Wasn't
good.
there? I mean, yeah, this was a few years ago now. Then they might have cancelled it. There was, I don't know if it was EGX or if it was another expo where like like the army was there and it was like, come and have a chat with us about joining the army, and I don't think that went down very well.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah,
I can't imagine it did.
Grim.
So for some reason, I thought you were going to mention the time at EGX where they had that board where it was like, vote with a sticker if you think that Britain should have left the EU. Do you remember that?
Yeah,
that
was weird.
Random hardcore politics in the middle
and
of
it was
the,
and everyone was voting for Remain.
Yeah,
weirdly.
I was like, which should have been the real result. I
was going to say, yeah, we should have left it to the gamers, mate.
Yeah,
we always make good political decisions.
Yeah, famously, yeah.
Right, before we move on, Looper's here and he needs a piss. So can we have a 2-minute break?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay,
Cheers.
that sounds safe. Oh my word! Oh, actually, there's no bit of news I wanted to cram in. Maybe we will afterwards. Like, have you seen its Xbox Series X console wraps? Have you seen them, Sarah? They announced today.
No.
I'll put a link in our chat.
Well, I did cut out. I found a piece of news about how there's an illegal gambling run for children, a gambling ring for children on Roblox, and they're being sued for it.
Really? What games on Roblox? This sounds good. I might get involved.
Oh no, I deleted the link. Have I still got it? No, I haven't got the tab open. But yeah, the headline was just something like Roblox is being sued for running an illegal gambling ring for minors.
I'm not going to add minors into my search term.
MINORS.
I'm not into too risky. Okay, I've got it here. Yeah. Roblox accused of facilitating illegal gambling for minors. Parents issue a class action lawsuit on behalf of their children. That's amazing. I wonder what games they were. Wow. Roblox is a whole different world, isn't it? It's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, Eddie paid a bit, quite a fair bit. There's like clicker on there, just because. So yeah, she hasn't played it for a while. She's more into Minecraft these days.
Oh, good. That's a good
man,
one.
that is, and also Snaky Bus, because Dan Didi, as a YouTuber or Mr. Beast or someone plays Snaky Bus, which is basically like Snake from the Nokia days, but it's a giant bus in 3D.
Oh, Snaky Bus.
Yeah, Snaky Bus. Yeah.
Oh yeah, I've played that.
Yeah.
I thought you said Sneaky Bus.
No, Snaky. Yeah, it's decent actually.
Oh yeah,
Snaky Bus.
Snaky Bus is great.
Yeah. Yeah, well, when I showed her like the original phone version, she couldn't believe her eyes. So this is kind of based on this.
It's just a line and a square.
Yeah, it's so weird because my parents didn't do it because they didn't really give a fuck about games. But you can imagine lots of people when they're seeing say virtual tennis on Dreamcast, and their like grandparents will say, "Look, this is Pong. This is basically what it used to look like." When I showed Elodie Snake on Nokia, like a video on YouTube, it felt exactly that. Like the graphics are basically like Pong anyway, and I'm like, I've done it. Like she's seen Snaky Bus, I'm showing her Snake. It's exactly like someone saying virtual tennis. Look at Pong. I was like, oh fucking hell, it's happened already.
Yeah.
Far too early for that, but yeah, she wasn't really. She was actually really didn't give a shit about Snake on phones, which is upsetting.
You got to know your heritage and respect
you really do
the
have to know your
classics,
history, yeah.
You know.
I'm going to nip for a quick wee, but Sean, should we do the Xbox Xbox console wraps story or not?
Oh yeah, can do.
Okay, I'm just going to go for a quick wee actually.
Unbelievable, inefficient. Why couldn't he have weed at the same time as my dog?
I know.
We'd be back on it now. We'd be in bed for 11.
And I would have just, I don't know. I would have been able. I've streamed before.
I was going to say, yeah, you
time
can
with
stream.
chat. I know what I'm doing.
Yeah, it's fine.
Yeah.
Just come back and there's be loads of abuse. Matt was getting slaughtered during the ploughman's chat. I don't know if you saw.
I think I did.
Him as being anti-working class.
Middle class Murray.
Yeah.
Oh, so I kept seeing lots of people doing, "Oh, friend,"
Yeah.
during the friend.
It did sound a bit like he was boasting about how many friends he had.
Well, we don't know if it's mutual.
No. Bless him.
I'm not saying it's not. All I'm saying is we don't know.
Phil's saying leave all this in. I mean, it's up to Matt. It's his edit. Maybe we should stop being mean about him while he's not here.
Well, you're not. You're just talking about what was in the chat.
That's true. It's the
You're
chat's
not-
fault.
You're not starting new abuse.
Yeah, I'm
you're
not instigating it. Just commenting on previous.
Yeah,
abuse.
calling attention to abuse from other people.
Yeah, but not really.
Yeah.
Like, but I am sort of saying it's funny, which maybe doesn't help. Yeah, I don't know. Here he is. Yo.
Hello. Cool. We're good.
Yeah, good piss.
Yeah, great. One of the best ones today, actually.
Nice one.
Yeah.
Did you wash your hands?
Of course I did.
He was very quick, wasn't he?
Well, it's a small house. The bathroom's right there.
Well,
It's in the corner of this room, actually.
Matt, can you upload your recording at the end of this? I'm going to boost it and see if you can hear the tap.
You might. You might be able to hear a lot of things, actually. So let's not do that. Okay, shall I just start on and say I'm
Yeah, go for it,
interrupting?
man. You
Okay.
butt in.
I will butt in. Okay, cool. But just before we go, have you seen this news about the Xbox Series X console wraps?
Oh,
which I
he's
thought
messing with your section, Sarah.
I'm sorry, Sarah.
Are you allowing this?
You've done such a good
it's-
job, but
Such
I
a
mean,
good job, but not good enough.
No, I feel like this is the advertorial section, like the paid news story.
have you heard about this exciting new venture called
Yeah.
Xbox Series X console wraps coming?
I mean, if we
this
were
fall?
getting paid, I'd be absolutely fine
Yeah.
with him.
Pre-order start today. No, so we wondered about special edition Xboxes, and Dave had like a prediction, didn't he? What was it about different coloured Xboxes?
Oh, yeah, different coloured ones, yeah.
And we have companies like D-Brand who are doing like console wraps, I guess they call them as well. But Xbox or Microsoft have launched their own, but they're these kind of fabric things that wrap around a console. They're secured with Velcro. They go over to just Series X at the moment, and they're launching it with a Starfield design, which I think looks really bloody nice, and also two camo ones as well. Yeah, there's like
Which,
a white...
in comparison, are really naff.
Yeah, there's like kind of purpley, turquoisey camo design, and like
Yeah.
a series of grey kind of shape camo design. But the Starfield wrap looks really nice, and I wouldn't ever put like a stick around my console. But
Well, I was going to
don't
say,
know,
because that's
this
the...
is kind of tempting, surprisingly.
Because, yeah, we were saying earlier, weren't we? There's two interesting sides to this. One, yeah, Microsoft just saying, like, no one wants to buy special edition consoles these days. It's fucking ridiculous use of money. Not their words, obviously.
No.
And B, yeah, like, it's not like a decal. It's... How do they describe it? So, it's got like a fabric coating, but it's like panels, right?
Yeah.
But with sort of...
It looks like an iPad case.
Yeah.
Yes, it does actually. Yeah, so it's first of all, they're £45 or $44.99, which I don't think is that bad. But anyway, and yeah,
they
there's
could get
these,
away with more, I would have thought. Yeah.
Yeah, basically they're like an internal fabric which has a soft precision sheen.
Lovely.
And yeah, it uses Velcro to kind of make sure it's on nice and tight. There's got cutouts for the various kind of disk drive section.
All
disk drive
this for
sections.
just $49.99.
I
Now
know.
tell us where can we get our hands on one of these?
You can pre-order yours today, Sarah, from the Microsoft store.
Well, sorry.
and then
What?
launch.
Where was that again? Where can I
The
pre-order this?
Microsoft.com store, and they launch actually on October 18th in the US, Canada, and Europe. But I don't know. When I saw this link and I posted it in our WhatsApp group, and I can't work out whether this is cool or cringe. Like, I can't work. I'm really undecided.
think
Like
it's
the Starfield
cool.
one looks really nice, and I would love a white Xbox or white Xbox Series X, and you can kind of. But I don't know.
They are nice, and because obviously with the skin stickers,
Yeah, I
the
wouldn't.
tiniest little bump or bubble or whatever is in those, and it just looks garbage, and you can't ever take it off because you're just left with like the sticky stuff like left all over your console. They're awful. But these look like they're quite easy to change.
And
I mean, the
shape,
Starfield one is nice.
Yeah, and given
really
the shape of the Series X, the fact it's just, it's a tall, oblong box. You can do it with a PlayStation, with all the kind of various curves and stuff. That's why D-brand and whatnot exists for covers for that. But yeah, I think it's really interesting actually, but kind of tempted. I don't know. The white Starfield one just looks really nice. I'm looking forward to seeing reviews and seeing what it actually looks like in real life. I mean, these PR shots look great and all, but I'm looking forward to someone actually getting their hands in and say,
once you put it on your console with like 2 seconds of scrutiny, you'll just be like, oh, that's just a thing you've wrapped.
It looks like a weird jacket on the console and it doesn't work. But I
mean, my Xbox lives like under a TV unit anyway, so this is useless to me. But I know I don't mind it.
Like if I had a Series X.
Sorry, Sarah, go on.
I was just going to say, like, if I had a Series X, I still wouldn't get one anyway, because all my consoles live in...
Yep.
You can't really see it, but it's
I think we have literally the same one, don't we? The IKEA one with the...
The Fial...
Oh, I don't know. I can't remember what it's called.
It's like wood. It's like wood on the top and then metal. Yeah. So you can't really see anything. So.
No. But yeah, I'm all right with it. Because as you say, the D-brand stuff is really nice. Like I've got a D-brand cover for my phone and everything. But yeah, I would never put like a console decal on because it feels like too big a commitment. Like it would fucking stress me out. Like I'm not very patient with stuff like that at the best of times. So it's too much. But something like this seems way more manageable. Because you remember like when the PS5 came out, and before D-brand started doing like the replacement, plates and stuff. I remember they just put out a thing that was like, people are asking us why we're not doing PS5 decals. We've seen what you lot are like trying to put our decals on curved surfaces. We are not doing it because it's just too hard.
I think this works.
Yeah,
and like for 45 quid, I feel like, I mean, this is stuff that David always mugs me off for, but from a Microsoft point of view, like they can pack like 1 million of these into a warehouse, or lots and lots of them. They, I assume they're quite thin. People be like, I'll buy the game, and I'll buy the thing, the cover as well. So and the pad. It's like it's always little extras that they're trying to add, and buy the game, but also you kind of want the headset. You kind of want the pad that matches that. Now you also kind of want this thing as well to cover your Xbox and whatever game you're into. So,
I mean, it's like the one caveat for me is like, don't buy merch for a game you haven't played yet. Please don't. I mean, I'm looking at Sarah. You have done this, haven't
you?
I
haven't.
Okay.
My boyfriend has the watch pre-ordered
for a smartwatch, right?
Yeah,
and what does it even run on? Do we know?
It's an Android.
Oh, it's an Android Wear one.
Yeah, okay. And I mean, he's got the Pip-Boy and the Brotherhood of Steel.
Oh, so he's got a track record in this.
Nice.
And there's also he's got the Elder Scrolls Online statue over there in the darkness somewhere. So
we found him, the guy who plays. No, I don't know. Like I saw people going nuts for insert coin and doing like a jacket.
The jacket
it looks
really
fine.
nice.
Like it looks nice. I can't imagine being like, I'm
a Starfield jacket.
Yeah. I just can't imagine, being that excited with that. Like obviously it's fine to be excited about games that are coming out. I'm not like having a go at people for being excited. I don't know. To me, that's too big a commitment for a thing I have not played yet.
But an Xbox console wrap, experience the Power Series X in style, you would condone that.
Yeah, I mean, at least you can just take that off if the game's shit.
Yeah, and then buy potentially the Arctic camo or minimal camo ones,
you could resell
available today from the Microsoft store.
Yeah, and because of the the way it works, you could resell the Starfield one. Just take it off and just get it on eBay.
But I would also love to rock up on day one with the watch, the wrap, the headset, the pad, and now the jacket.
That's a funny photo, isn't it?
The thing is, though,
expensive photo.
Yeah.
If you've spent all that money on all of the merch, and the game comes out and it is shit, you're not going to admit to that, are you?
No, that's true. You're just going to convince yourself you love it.
Yeah.
So maybe that's
It's like
maybe I'm doing it wrong.
sunk cost fallacy.
Fallacy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Obviously,
Yeah.
Sarah, you've now just announced to all the listeners that that's what your partner's done. So we better hope for his sake that this is a 10 out of 10.
Yeah.
Otherwise, that watch is going
I mean,
right
Imagine if
back.
you just
sure.
preferred messing around with the watch to the actual game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
On day
At least
one,
it means
I
he hasn't
don't give a
wasted
shit about the
money.
game, actually.
Yeah.
I'm sure he'll enjoy it. He's getting the PC version, so at least he gets it in more than 30 frames.
There is that. There is that.
It's just, yeah, I don't know. It's funny. Like, obviously, I'm really excited about Armored Core 6, but I did not order the 250 quid one with the little mech. Although it does look very cool. What's sorry?
Well, you didn't get one with a garage.
No, it definitely didn't want to get the one with the garage. That was 400 quid.
Little mech garage.
So yeah, but then like I did spend way too much money on the Citizen Sleeper special edition stuff because I'd already played it and I already loved it, and that didn't feel as ridiculous. So, yeah.
And have you seen that? You know, I do the Gunpla model kits.
Yeah.
Have you seen that they are going to be doing the Armored Core robot Gunpla kits?
Oh really?
Yes.
Oh, shit.
Because I think that's
Sean
technically been a thing before, but they've never been easy to get hold of.
Hobby Link Japan.
Yeah.
I'm going to see if they are actually.
No, don't, because
Sean's gonna get one. I mean, that
I'm
sounds
gonna
like
bang
great.
the microphone. Yeah.
Calm down, Sean.
This is dangerous.
I mean, if they're like, what's the name? If they're like high grade, they're not that expensive.
Just
To be fair, it would
950
be
quid.
very sick to have one on the old pegboard.
It would, wouldn't it?
Okay.
Just on that, just while Sarah's trying to find that, I was like, Armored Core's out this week, right?
Yeah, Friday.
It feels like I've heard like very little about it. Like this is a From Software game.
If
Am
you
I
go
missing
on like
a lot of this stuff?
if you go on all like the usual sort of YouTube channels, so like Varty Vidge's done shitloads of stuff about it. All the sort of well-known sort of Souls /
Okay.
FromSoft channels are really hyped for it. Yeah.
I just feel like it's out this week, and I've just heard nothing. It wasn't until you mentioned it. I was like, oh shit, it's actually out this
I know
week.
what you mean. I don't know when the embargo is. I had one friend who I assumed was going to blag a press copy off it, but he's had loads of freelance on, so he was like, no, I'm not. I just want to buy it and play it like a normal person.
Okay.
Don't want it to be work, which is fair enough.
Yeah.
So I've not heard anything from anyone yet.
But when do reviews go live? Do we know?
Don't know. No idea. But early impressions have all been amazing. So we'll see.
Have you found this £500 mech yet, Sarah?
So it's Kotobukiya, not Bandai Namco, who normally do them. Bandai Namco. I always get that the wrong way around.
Yeah.
So they've been doing Armored Core model kits since like 2005. Yeah. I don't know when they're coming out. There are some up for pre-order on Plaza Japan. I don't. This is from Armored Core 4 Answer, so I think this is like re-released ones.
Is it
so
White Glint by any chance?
It is White Glint.
Yes, it's a very good robot.
It is.
Okay, we should move on. We should definitely move on now.
It's only £30.
Oh really? Oh shit, that's dangerous.
Oh, what disappointing.
Yeah.
I wanted to be like 180 quid and Sean would be like, oh no.
Oh no, they are planning a very high-end action figure.
Ooh.
Supplice from Armored Core 4.
Oh no,
Oh, that's a good
one.
robot. Yeah, I love that one.
Yeah.
Don't take the piss, Matt.
That's my favourite robot. Let's move
This is
on.
my life.
Oh, there's an LED in it.
Oh
shit.
Yeah.
That's going to be expensive now.
It's big and you can pose it and it has an LED in the head.
Do we have a number, Sarah, or should we move on? Okay,
no, unfortunately not.
So
I might be able to find it, but
I just found White Glint on Amazon, which is going for a cool £356.
yeah, this model kit on Plaza Japan, it's like it's like just shy of 6,000 yen, which is like 30 quid.
Okay, interesting. But yeah, this 356 quid one made me laugh because the description I was like, Armored Core, 172 scale, NX04, linear arc, white glint, model kit, brackets, toy. It's gonna be like, I thought it was a real fucking mech.
Yeah.
I thought it was a bargain. I said,
Brackets not actual size.
brand, Kotobukiya, age range, infant.
I
feel like
bunch
they're
of
having
children.
a go at me now, to be honest.
Mr. Amazon's mugged you right off there, Sean.
Yeah, we should move on. Dave is going to hate
100%.
this bit.
Don't worry,
it's all just padding. It's just padding.
This is all get deleted. Don't worry about it.
What have we been playing, Sarah? As the guest, would you like to go first?
Guest?
I mean, I'm excited about this because you are.
The guest who now does half the work with the news, so I'm very confused about her employment status right now.
I'm gonna up my appearance fee.
No, I'm excited about this because you're going to talk about something that has been a real blind spot for us. So please go ahead.
Zelda.
So, I mean, I have finished Tears of the Kingdom. I finished it like an hour before we started. So, but I will hold off on that because I have also just finished Final Fantasy 16. And it was very, very good.
That's really nice to hear because I've seen, like, more than anything, I was really surprised just how quickly the conversation seemed to die down around it. And I've seen people being quite negative about, like, the late game stuff. I've seen people saying, like, the story kind of goes off the boil weirdly quickly. I mean, stuff like that. But, yeah.
Yeah. I've seen all of that as well. I think the kind of drop off. I think that's happened just because there's been so much other stuff. I mean, it wasn't that long after it that obviously now Baldur's Gate's come out. I think the Baldur's Gate conversation I think is going to completely disappear once Starfield is out.
Yeah. Possibly, yeah.
But and then also as well is like Diablo kind of kept shit in the bed, and that kind of took up a lot of like the discourse and stuff. So I think it's just been a sign of like just how busy the period has been. And then with people kind of criticizing like where the story ends up going, that's literally every Final Fantasy game.
Because what is it about? I know it's impossible to summarize these things without them sounding daft, but do it anyway because I'm curious.
It's very clearly influenced by Game of Thrones. It's got a real sort of Game of Thrones vibe at the start. It's a lot of
I know it's like just in a demo. It seemed very kind of about family and political and warring factions and houses and whatnot.
Yeah, it's very much warring warring families and kingdoms. A lot of kind of backstabbing and war and stuff with much more of a focus on magic. So each of these kingdoms has their own what's known as a dominant, and they can, rather than just, because in previous Final Fantasy games you obviously have the summons, so you have Ifrit, Ramuh, Shiva, Bahamut, and whenever you summon them, in much earlier games it was just like one massive attack. In 10 they started to get more of a focus in that you would summon it and then it would basically become like its own character that you would kind of control, but like the summoner would just kind of like stand back by the side. In this they actually I'm also going to ignore 13 because I don't know what the situation was with that. All I know is that Shiva was like kind of a motorbike.
Okay. I never touched 13. Everyone swiped it off at the time, so I just never, I don't know.
Awful game. But in this, the dominants actually, in their like human forms, they just have access to like abilities and spells and stuff, but then they actually fully like turn into the summon.
Right.
So in the game, that means you have these absolutely jaw-dropping segments where you are playing as a giant summon, and like some of it will be on rails, some of it will be much more similar to the combat that you're used to. And yeah, you just have this big, massive, ridiculous, huge scale fight, particle effects and lighting and sparkles, and just at one point you end up in space.
Oh, okay. So it's not very grounded
doing
then.
a fight in space. No, it becomes a lot more grounded. So I have seen a lot of people criticize like the pacing of it, and it does have these incredibly high like tempo moments where you're just like, oh my god, and it finishes and you just have to kind of sit there like, oh, that was mad. And then the next thing you're like doing, oh, please go check on this merchant who had to go pick up some cloth and then got lost, and they're now being attacked by like 5 little goblins. But but I found that you kind of, because of how intense like the really high moments are, you kind of do need those quieter moments. And also a lot of the side quests are a little bit like fetch questy and a little bit dull, but they give you incredible insight into like the characters and the world as well. But yeah, essentially it's big warring kingdoms. Each kingdom kind of has their own giant crystal where, so this is where I think a criticism is warranted. So the game, essentially, you have your dominants, and there's only like 5 or 6 of them. They can use magic because of like the summons, the icons. Then you have your regular people, and then you have what are known as bearers, and bearers can use magic without having to use crystals. Everyone else, if you're not a bearer, you can use magic, but you have to use like a crystal, and that like summons the fire or whatever. Bearers are almost kind of like an underclass. A lot of the kingdoms basically use them as like slave labor. There's a section quite early on where you basically hear about a couple of NPCs, and this woman's talking about how a friend had a baby and it was a bearer and it could use magic. So they were just like, oh yeah, like we just got rid of it. Like the Imperials came, we just got rid of it. And it's like, oh, that's pretty grim. There are a couple of side quests you can do, because basically if bearers use magic too much, they basically turn to stone.
Right.
And there is an incredibly grim couple of side quests which involve basically how disposable bearers are to the rest of society. And obviously they are like an underclass, they're like a slave class. And a lot of the game kind of circles around Clive, the main character, wanting to end that split, as well as kind of save the world, because basically this thing called the Blight is slowly encroaching on, it's basically just like completely dead land. It's slowly encroaching on all these kingdoms. So yeah, Clive basically wants to end that, but he also wants to fully end this sort of enslavement of all of the bearers. And it's a little bit uncomfortable that is the story when pretty much everyone in the game is just different shades of white.
Right. Yeah.
Like, yeah. There's a couple of places that you go to and they're a bit more like olive skinned, slightly more tanned. That's it. Yeah. That's a little bit uncomfortable. Other than that, though, it is very, very, very good. The combat's incredible.
Yeah, because what's combat like? It's more real time, isn't it?
It's 100% real time. Right. It's basically the foundations that were laid in the Final Fantasy VII remake, made infinitely better because Platinum Games remade them.
That's
like
right.
Platinum Games have their own section in the credits.
Right.
The combat director is the guy, I think he was combat director on like the new-ish Devil May Cry.
Oh yeah.
Is it Devil May Cry 5? The one that a load of people didn't like. Because you played as like little snot-nosed young Dante.
That was the
That was
you said Team Ninja. That was the Ninja Theory one.
Yes, that was.
Yeah.
Maybe it was DMC5.
One of the other ones. Yeah.
He's done a Devil May Cry, but yeah,
Okay.
essentially it's all the combat was handled by Platinum Games. So combat is incredible. It has a really good sort of adaptive difficulty. So right at the start of the game, you're given a bunch of different rings and they do different things. So either they will automatically use healing potions, automatically dodge, automatically parry, or the one that I used basically just means you have time kind of slows down when it's time to dodge, and the dodge prompt will come up and then you use that to dodge. So it just gives you way more time to react to it, which is really useful. Yeah, you do need to equip them. And yeah, just makes the game much easier if, like me, you are old and your reaction times aren't very good.
I was going to say, yeah, because it sounds like it's a helping hand, but without just, like, you still get to do the cool dodges, right? It doesn't feel like it's
100%.
robbing you of,
And there's definitely still a couple of fights that, like, I had challenges with even using those. But yeah, combat is incredible. Like, it feels really, really good. It looks super fancy. Obviously the kind of big sort of fancy battles are really, really cool. That massively undersells just how much of a spectacle they are. Yeah, every time it got to one of those, I thought, okay, that's insane. And then you get to the next one and you're like, oh no, they've gone even bigger. And then it goes even bigger. The story actually turns out to be more than how I just described it, but I don't really want to spoil anything.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, the characters are brilliant, like brilliantly written. There's even the kind of sort of secondary cast of characters are fantastic, and if you do all of the side quests and side missions like I did, you get some really, really quite touching, quite sweet moments with a lot of them. Some quite funny bits as well. Like, voice acting is incredible. Animation on the cutscenes is absolutely phenomenal. The music is probably the best Final Fantasy music since Nobuo Uematsu stopped doing them like full time.
Because when did he stop? Was 10 his last one, or did he do more than that?
He did some of the tracks on 10.
Right.
The last one he did in its entirety, like mainline ones, was 9.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, he did some of the tracks in 10. And yeah, Final Fantasy music's been okay since then, but the composer on this one is his first name begins with an M. Can't remember exactly what it is. Last name is Soken. Yeah. He does the soundtrack for Final Fantasy 14.
Okay.
And some of the tracks in that are so good. Like, ridiculously good. So yeah, Final Fantasy music is in incredibly safe hands if they keep hold of him. And yeah, it is the best Final Fantasy since 10.
I mean, competition's not that stiff, right?
No,
I know. Well, no,
no.
I know you really like 14.
No.
12's quite well thought of, isn't it, as well, right?
That's what I meant to say. Sorry, it's the best one since 12, which came out on the PS2.
Okay.
Not counting 11 because I didn't play that because that was an MMO on the PS2. No one played it. 13, terrible. I think I maybe made it like a third of the way through, and I was like, no, this game is awful. Again, 14 until maybe 4 years ago wasn't great. If anyone doesn't already know, I won't go into it here, but if anyone doesn't already know, watch the No Clip documentary on Final Fantasy 14 because the story of that game is incredibly, incredibly interesting in so many different ways. Yeah, 13 was bad. 14, that's an MMO and it's ongoing, so I kind of don't really want to count that. 15 had some of the best character writing in a Final Fantasy. The story was dreadful. Apparently, the Royal
Yeah.
Edition fixed a lot of it, but I never went.
Because
back and
loads of
played
story
that.
was just missing, right? That was my
Yeah.
my understanding. Because I
Basically.
really wanted to love 15. I did really enjoy the combat, but yeah,
Yes.
because like isn't it like really early on there's like a 2-second cutscene, and apparently it's like, oh yeah, that's when you're essentially meant to pause it and go and watch the film
Yes.
and then come back and like
That's
but it
great.
doesn't tell you
Yeah,
that. I mean, even if it
basically.
did, that would be unacceptable. But yeah, but but like I wanted to love it because it's the lads going on a road trip, and it's like a really nice interpretation of the Final Fantasy thing. But yeah, sadly, issues.
Yes, very much so. But yeah, I mean, I can definitely understand how someone who started off really enjoying the kind of Game of Thrones, like political intrigue, warring kingdoms, were then put off by the kind of much more Final Fantasy aspects of the story.
Yeah.
But if you've been playing Final Fantasy games as long as I have, since Final Fantasy VII, it's just part of the course. It very much it shifted from feeling like Game of Thrones to feeling like a Final Fantasy.
Right.
Yeah, it's brilliant. It's so good. And Matt, you
Yeah.
really like the 7 remake, so you will absolutely love this.
Yeah,
Like, without a shadow of a doubt.
I really want to play this. I was planning on playing it earlier. Now I thought, no, I'll get Zelda done, and that took me longer. And I did play other things, but this is absolutely on my list. I mean, I want to recapture what I loved so badly about Final Fantasy VII again, and not having had the history of that game. I still loved it.
Get into
And,
Kingdom Hearts, mate. You'd be fine.
I'm not going to be doing that. Absolutely no way. But so in terms of like from FF7 remake to this, is there any like extra complexity that I would have to be wary about, or is it an evolution of what I would have experienced in that compared to
this? So I think if you have, say you have like, because you've played some of the original Final Fantasy VII at this point,
30 hours, but yeah.
So say you have the original Final Fantasy VII, say it's like a sliding scale, the original Final Fantasy VII on one end, and then Final Fantasy XVI on the other end. One is obviously it is a turn-based RPG. The other one is an action combat game. Final Fantasy VII Remake kind of sits somewhere in the middle, in that you can not 100% pause it. It slows down to like 1% of the speed or whatever to be able to give out commands and stuff. I think there is actually a mode. I never used it, but I think there is actually a mode in 16 which kind of apes that or is very close to it. But I never touched that. I only ever played like the action focused mode. It is an action combat game. Like if you've played any of the Platinum games, any of the Devil May Cries, any of the Bayonettas, Metal Gear Rising, if you've played an action beat 'em up game, that's what Final Fantasy is now.
I'm going to surprise you here, Sarah. I've played none of them games. I've not played a
You need to
single
sort that
one
out,
of
man.
them.
You do need to sort
Why
that
are
out.
you even on the show?
I don't-
Have you
I
ever
ask
played
that-
it? Have you
I
ever
ask
played
that
a
every
video
week.
game?
I ask myself that every week, Sarah.
It's
Yeah, I was
weird
having
though,
fun
isn't it?
with
Like it's bittersweet because, I mean, to be fair, Bayonetta 3 was meant to be really good. It's like 20 quid now. I keep meaning I should really just buy it.
I should get that as well.
Yeah, that sort of Platinum's sort of pedigree has really sort of ebbed away over the last sort of 10 years, really. Like they're not this sort of flawless hit machine they used to be, but it's really nice to hear that their influence in this is felt. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean they have their own section in the credits. Like it has like a Platinum Games section. Yeah, I mean it's very obvious from playing 16 that like they've still got it.
Yeah.
Like they can still make really good combat. But I guess it's all the other stuff around that maybe they're kind of struggling with. But yeah, 16 is great.
So how many hours did it take you to finish this? This is a 100+ hour game. Could you do
No.
it quicker? No. Okay.
Is there a way to find out on PS5 how many hours you've put into a game?
I think there is now. Yeah. If you go on to the main kind of bar, I'm sure on the bottom right hand corner it says how many hours have been played. I think, or maybe if you go. I saw someone mentioning the other day.
I'd have to turn the TV on for that. I'm guessing it doesn't say it on the app.
Probably not.
Probably not.
Who knows?
But I mean, from what I saw on, I think I looked on like how long to beat. I think the just doing the story is maybe like 30 hours.
Okay.
It is a pretty long story. I mean, I did obviously all of that. I did all of the side mission, like side quests. I also did all of the hunts in order to get like the best gear that's currently in the game. There's still some stuff I want to do. So there's these little things you can find which are called like chronoliths, which are basically, it's like a time attack. You get like three waves of enemies, and then a boss, and you basically have like a certain chunk of time to do them all. And by doing certain moves and certain abilities within the time, that gives you like seconds back. There's a bunch of those, and it locks you to using a certain like chunk of abilities. So there's a bunch of those I need to go and find and do those. There is also a bunch of like combat trophies that I want to get because I do want to get the platinum for it. And then there is New Game Plus and also the Final Fantasy difficulty, where it basically changes around a lot of the enemies. So you fight much more powerful enemies much earlier on, as well as all of them being like way tougher, but carries over obviously all of your like levels and abilities and everything from your first playthrough. So I'm probably going to do that as well.
Yeah, if it is like 30 to 60, in my mind for some reason I thought it's like another 100+ hour game, and I know
No, it's definitely not that. And I mean, I kind of appreciate that, because like I've tried playing turn-based RPGs recently, and like I can't focus on them like I used to be able to. So I, for one, quite like that as my attention span has decreased, Final Fantasy has just become more aligned with that. And they've also made themselves a bit shorter, because like obviously the other thing I've been playing is Zelda. And when I look at a lot of the stuff that I've got left to do in that, even though I've completed the game, even though I've done all the shrines, I'm looking at like, oh, well, I could like try and get all of the armor sets and like the massive list of like side quests I've got to do in that game. And I'm just like, oh my God, there is still so much to do.
See, I found that, the sort of worth of the rewards really sort of dried up for me. Like, one of the reasons I eventually stopped exploring the depths was like, it's just like, oh, right, it's another piece of armor from one of the other Zelda games that I will also not equip like all of the others that I found. But but if you're just doing it to collect them, that's like, if that is enough of a reward for you, then that's fine, I guess. But I was like, well, this doesn't give me any sort of advantage, so what's the point? Like,
oh yeah. I don't want to collect all of those. I just want the ones that actually do things. But yeah.
Well, let's get on to Zelda then, because I've also been playing that this week or last week, I guess, really. I've also finished it.
Fucking hell.
Yes.
Is this because we made fun of the whole Seven Hearts thing? Is this what's pushed you to?
I was always going to finish it. I was just other things. I just stopped playing it really. But how many hearts? I think I ended with like 24, 25 hearts.
Okay.
Have you done all the shrines?
No, God, no. I've only done like at 75 or 85 or something. So hardly any really.
You've got no stamina.
I've got like 2 or 3 rings of stamina, I think.
Okay.
You definitely don't have 3, because the maximum is 3.
Okay, I think I've got 2 then, yeah. But 2's
you
enough.
need
2's fine.
2 for. events that I will.
Yeah, there's certain things
discuss.
you need two for, and I just didn't bother after that. But I guess it would be nice to run more. But yeah, after I did every shrine that I had like unlocked or visited or saw on in the overworld, that I haven't really gone back to that. But I finished. I mean, so last week I was on holiday, and I mentioned this on the bonus show, but I mentioned it here briefly. Jill and Elodie were going to bed like half past.
This is premium content.
This is a
all right, everyone who's watching now, 5p. Come on.
Everyone, go on. We'll wait for the PayPals. Okay, well, just to address Naylor Ben's comment in the chat, I don't know how Matt went from 7 hearts to 24 hearts in about a week. So
I am also. I'll be honest. I am also suspicious because you said you've only done about 70. There's 152 shrines in the game.
Yeah, I think I've done like 7. I'll check.
I've done all of them.
Yeah.
And I have, really annoyingly, it gets you 3 full rings of stamina and 1 short of 2 full rows of hearts.
That is fucking annoying. Why would they do that?
Yeah, I know.
I know. Isn't it? Horrendous.
I'm also 1 cell short of the whole full battery thing. But then you can double it up. So that the actual maximum is like twice that full thing.
Well, I'm sorry, the battery thing. Yeah, so I've got like I just need 200 more crystallized charges to max out. So you're saying I can actually double that, can I?
Yep.
Oh, so once you fill it full, do they say, "Hey, do you want to do it again?" Basically, is that what they say?
No, it just sort of carries on, right?
Oh, okay. So I thought, okay, I'm also going to like totally complete the battery, and oh, so that isn't even a thing anymore. Oh, I took a picture of how many hours I've played. Oh no, that's not.
I was going to say, I think we're going to need a video here, Matt.
But in terms of me doing it quickly, as I said previously, I'd visited 1 million shrines because I'll just visit.
Oh, it's 1 million now.
It's 1 million. Yeah.
Sorry, 2 million.
Can't keep his facts straight.
Every shrine I saw, I visited just to unlock it as a fast travel point, but I didn't actually bother going in because I just wasn't in the mood at the time. Yep. So then one weekend or week or whatever, I was like, okay, I'll just now spend time doing all the shrines, and that's why I went from 7 to I think I got 24 hearts. And I may have done 2 or 3 since then. But last week I was on holiday. Jill and Eddie were going to bed so early, and we all sleep in the same hotel room. So I was like, I might as well just hammer Zelda. So I did that, and I finished it on the weekend. I've since gone back and got every light route in the depths, which I didn't need to, and I knew it wasn't going to give me anything, but
it's really satisfying.
It's really satisfying, yeah. Like I'm so mixed on my thoughts on the depths. I know, Sean, you love them, and
I love the depths.
On some aspect, they're really kind of frustrating. It's like it takes a while to get places, blah blah blah. But it was I just couldn't stop myself from trying to collect everyone's light routes. Okay, there's something down there.
There's just something really satisfying of like getting to one. And then looking around and like seeing another one way off in the dark and be like, right, I'm going to go for that one.
Yeah. And then sometimes like en route to it, you'll lose sight of it.
Yeah.
And you just have to be like, I've just got to keep going in this direction and to just have faith in my own like navigational abilities or whatever.
And then when you can't find any, then you go up to the top map and you're like, oh, okay, well, there's a shrine there. And then if you put a pin in it, it's underneath. And then you're like, okay, so that means the light route is going to be there, and then it's figuring out how to get to it. But then once you've got all the light routes as well, you can then use that to find all the shrines.
Yeah, that's what I found really interesting. There's one under here, so there must be one above. Yeah, what I found, so light routes, like some of them, I was like, hang on, because in the depths, we've definitely mentioned this, but in the depths, if there is like water above ground, then that's where there's like basically an unassailable cliff. And there's some light routes, there's some gaps where like even the light route opens up a vast area of the map, but sometimes there's these little circles where like nothing has opened up. I'm like, hang on, how can I even get to that? It's literally covered or surrounded by cliffs, but they're the ones you have to go above ground, go down the chasm to like get in. And it's so cool because there's 120 of these light routes. I've done 119 of them, but the last one to get was the most complicated of the lot, which just somehow was the one where you've got to go via like a labyrinth. And I'm really glad like that was my last one because it's meant a lot more. Yeah, it's really satisfying. You get like a dog shit reward, which means nothing and doesn't do anything. So that's kind of a kick in the nuts. But I don't know if I finished the game, but I was like, the game's finished, whatever. But I've got to go back. The real thing for me is getting them done. So, got them done. Yeah, I thought I was just 200 crystallized charges away from finishing the battery. Turns out I'm now barely halfway. But I still want to go back and play it. But I don't know. I'm kind of mixed on the game. Like it is
Really?
undoubtedly a 10 out of 10 game, undoubtedly.
Mm-hmm.
But I just, unlike with Breath of the Wild, I don't have that emotional like connection to it like I did. Breath of the Wild was obviously new, it was different, there was adventure around every corner. Maybe it's because this is a shared map, at least in the overground. I'm just not having that excitement of the adventure. And I don't know, it's something that's kind of stopping me from like falling in love with it, even though I could very much see lots of people calling it game of the year or game of the generation. I can see that, but I don't know, I just I don't know, maybe because I've only recently finished it, I'm still too close to it. But right now, I just feel kind of meh about it, even though I know it's a 10 out of 10 game. Does that seem
I know what you
you,
mean.
anyone?
I know what you mean. I think it is.
No.
Okay.
I finished it literally about an hour before we started recording. And I was sat there during like the final cutscenes being like, I can't cry because it's going to ruin my makeup and I have to go on camera in an hour. Like, yeah.
The ending's really good.
The ending is excellent. Yeah.
I love that, like,
sure.
from like, a writing perspective, there are unanswered questions, stuff that doesn't really make sense, and I didn't give a shit because it was what I wanted to happen.
Oh, the
right?
moment
like
the moment you start playing with time travel,
yeah,
if you just
never
can't,
gonna make
you
sense.
can't. Yeah, you can't think about it too hard because the entire thing falls apart. You just have to be like, cool, we're just going to go with it. Like, however you've decided to do this whole time loop thing, cool, whatever.
It's like Looper, the film, not my dog. The bit where he's talking to Bruce Willis and they sort of start trying to figure out the timey-wimey stuff, and Bruce Willis just slams the table and just doesn't fucking matter. Stop it. And that is, and it's like, oh, that is the director talking to me directly. Just going, shut up. Go with
stop
it.
trying to work it
out. But yeah, no, I really love the ending.
The ending was awesome. The final boss was amazing. I thought Jamie, like the story was better than. Okay,
we'll
come to reviews in a minute.
Stop getting everything wrong, Matt.
It depends what part of the final boss we're talking about.
It's very different phases to it. Which I know people will shout out.
I think story-wise, it was more interesting in Breath of the Wild, and I loved all the kind of various stages. Yeah. I thought the dungeons, temples were great, but something about it hasn't. I don't know. Maybe it'll take a while for me to truly articulate what I mean, or maybe for my feelings to really come out about it. But I can see it's an incredible game, but something about it's stopping me from falling in love with it. But you, Sarah, you loved it.
Yes, absolutely loved it. I still think I am torn on which game I prefer out of the two of them. Yeah, it's a tough one. I think this one it adds so much. Not just with having the depths, but like all of the abilities you get and like the freedom it gives you to be able to do so much and approach things in so many different ways. Like I admit I probably didn't interact with a lot of the stuff as much as I maybe could have. But yeah, seeing some of the stuff that people have built and seeing some of the ways that people have approached certain challenges or puzzles, or just some of the ways that people have done things is insane. I
think that was a big part of it for me because that was something that was so cool about Breath of the Wild was for months people were working things out and discovering so many cool things about it. And my worry was like, if you doing a sequel to that, like what could you possibly add that would add that level of wonder and mystery to it again?
Just a mechanic.
But, to like this whole building system, like it's just, and which again was it was obviously them paying attention to the weird shit people were doing in Breath of the Wild. I mean, right? How do we further enable that? Right? How do we sort of make it like a solid concept within the game? But then people will take it even further in more ways that they couldn't have predicted.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think the story's so much better. Obviously the kind of the sages that you come across in Breath of the Wild, like they're cool and they've got some cool stories, but I think
But they are all dead, which is a minus point for me.
But I think the way the kind of all of the sages have kind of each of the sages in Tears of the Kingdom kind of have all their own stories of them kind of overcoming like their own personal challenges.
Yeah.
And they've got a stake in the world, right? Whereas the sages in Breath of the Wild like exist, that they're ghosts to be summoned to pilot the big robot, and which is cool. But yeah, it's a noticeably different take on a similar thing in this one, isn't it?
I think Zelda's got a really good story as well. Because where was she in Breath of the Wild? Was she just like?
She was just in the castle, wasn't she? Just stopping Ganon from getting out.
That was it. Yeah, like it was just very much like, let's just put her over here. She can just stay over here for the whole game. Yeah. Whereas in Tears of the Kingdom, like she has so much of a story, and she has a really, really incredibly important part to play in the story as well, which I really liked.
It's so hard to go into without spoiling it, but it's the a decision she makes is like genuinely quite moving, and again and plays into the timey-wimey stuff in a really cool way.
There's a bit towards the end, like when you're approaching the final boss, which ties back into the beginning of the game and everything that's happened since in a really, really, really cool way. I won't say exactly what it is, but that was really, really cool.
Good game.
Very good game. We've been very much spoiled.
Yeah.
What a year for it! What a year
the fact that the fact that it's not definitely game of the year is unbelievable.
Yeah.
But we'll see. Is it my turn? Do you have anything else to add, Matt?
No, that was it. No.
Good. Still playing Baldur's Gate 3.
Good. I'm now hear more about this.
30. This is also a really good game.
It's really fucking good game. I mean, I don't know how many hours I'm in. It's like 38 hours, and I'm still in Act 1.
Have you actually reached Baldur's Gate yet?
No, nowhere near.
Okay.
Absolutely nowhere near. And I don't even mind. That's the best part. Like, and I literally cannot imagine like what that will be like, because I've not really looked into it, but I gather it's like it's an entire fucking city, and there's just all sorts of stuff going on, and I can't imagine that all the stuff I've done up to now is going to be like the early chapters.
Yeah, pale insignificance once you get to there. Are you playing much on your Steam Deck or just PC?
Both.
Okay, and it works well Steam Deck.
It does. It's
text small, or is it okay?
Text is fine. Performance is up and down. Basically, you can set everything to medium and then use the AMD upscaling thing. I can't remember the name of. Put a bit of that on it, and then a lot of anti-aliasing. It's a bit smeary, but it runs mostly pretty well. And obviously, because of the kind of game it is, it's like it's an action game, right? Like it's, when you do go into combat, it's turn-based strategy. So So the odd dropped frame is not the end of the world, and just it's so cool to have a game that big on a handheld. Like, it's just ridiculous.
If you're playing that like on an afternoon or like sat on the couch, like the battery must be 2 hours handling that kind of thing.
It's about an hour and 40 minutes unless you plug in, which again is not great, but also you're like, but this is like, what do you expect? Like. So I've been really enjoying playing on the Steam Deck. I haven't really talked about the controls, which obviously, because on the face of it, not that interesting. But it is really impressive how the mouse and keyboard controls versus the controller controls are so different. Like, to the point that like once you press a button on your controller, like the camera like swoops right in and to like a sort of typical sort of third person over the shoulder viewpoint. which then feels right because it's like, oh yeah, it's like a third-person adventure game. Whereas using mouse and keyboard, you tend to have that top-down view. Just loads of little things like that they've thought about, and it's really, really nicely done. But yeah, I mean, without spoiling anything, there's not really much else I can add, other than I am still really fucking enjoying it. The other game I was going to talk about, you might have heard of it, it's Pokemon Go.
It's just one Switch.
You might be thinking, Sean, it's 2023. Why bring this up again?
Why?
Why? Well, basically, what happened was about a month ago we were at a wedding, and Isaac was with us, and
it was fucking
like,
boring. You're like, oh,
yeah,
what games can I play?
Needs something to do, man. No, so Nu was worried that Isaac might get bored, and she's like, I'll install Pokemon Go on my phone. She is now absolutely hooked, like to the point that it's really quite disturbing. She doesn't really play games, like hardly ever. She's only ever got involved with Tokyo Jungle, Stardew Valley. I think that's it, and now Pokemon Go. But it's been so nice because it's completely because I've sort of dipped in and out. Like I got well into it during like peak COVID, and then sort of drifted off. But it's been really nice going back, like living with someone else who plays it, and like it's been properly nice. Like we've, sometimes like if I'm working from home and she's off and like Isaac's at school or whatever, we'll just just fucking go for a walk, get some lunch, and play Pokemon Go on the way. And it's been really nice and a very cheap date. Hashtag cause he lives. So like it's been proper nice. And and this weekend is Pokemon Go Fest, but it's the one you can just do from wherever. And so we're gonna go into Chester and like with Isaac obviously, and just have a day in Chester doing like Pokemon Go Fest stuff. And I genuinely cannot wait.
Have they kept a lot of the stuff they implemented during COVID, where you don't have to travel to a raid? It's nearby.
Yeah.
I heard they were like, when they putting back on that at one point.
Yeah, they threatened to just remove remote raid passes. They are now still in it, but you don't like. I think you used to like come across them really easily, whereas now you pretty much have to buy them with the coins that you can earn, just playing the game. But yeah, you don't like necessarily always have remote raid passes, whereas during COVID it was like I was constantly doing raids in the town centre from my house. Whereas now it's like a calculated decision, like, well, hang on, would I rather just walk there because I don't really want to use a remote raid pass if I don't have to. So yeah, that is still in, but they've just sort of pulled it back a bit. So yeah, it's been lovely. It's been really nice going back to it. But that is basically all I've played.
Is it still week. Maximum level? Is it level 40 cap still? Or they
No, they raised it. I think it's 50 now. I mean, just to give you an idea of how much Nu's playing it. So I'm level 35. I've been playing it on and off since it came out. She's level 30, and she's been playing it for about a month.
Jesus Christ.
So yeah, but because when she's at work, she's on her feet constantly. Yeah, so she's walking around constantly. Like from her workplace, there's about 4 different stops and like I think 1 or 2 gyms. So yeah, whenever she gets any downtime at work, like because obviously she used to she smoked for a bit and then she like managed to get that down to vaping, and now she's like, instead of vaping, I'm just doing a bit of Pokemon Go instead. Like it's been like a genuinely healthy sort of replacement. So
That's
she's
great.
getting shitloads of stuff done, whereas I'm like, obviously because I work from home, I'm like, I wasn't gonna go anywhere today, to be honest, but maybe.
Now I have to go on my legs and have a bloody walk.
Yeah, I used to go out more during actual COVID because it felt like I had to, whereas now it's just, I don't know.
Hello, is that the police?
Can't be.
You just need to live somewhere where there are multiple Pokestops like right on your house.
Yes, that is.
But then everyone just got sent one of 2 gifts because it was the 2 Pokestops on my head. Occasionally they'd get the 2 Pokestops that are on the office. But our office is like a signal black hole, or at least it is for 3, like most of London. So, yeah. I mean, like me and Gareth got really, really, really back into it for like a period of about 2 or 3 weeks earlier this year.
Yeah.
But yeah, it only lasted for a couple of weeks. It didn't last very long.
It's one of those, like, I think Nu's been really lucky. The time she started it, there's been like events of some sort, like most weekends. So there's like time limited quests, or there's community day, or whatever. And now obviously we're going into Pokemon Go Fest, and I was saying like that will run out at some point, and then it will feel like playing it is basically pointless, because all the Pokemon you catch like in the wild are usually shit, and it's the quest reward ones, right? You know, they're usually the ones you want, and once you start running out of quests, it's sort of nowhere near as interesting. But I don't know, we'll see. But then the Monster Hunter one's coming out.
I was about to say, like, surely you're going to say, let's move over to Monster Hunter now.
Well, yeah, fingers crossed. That'll be very good. And then I'll get playing Monster Hunter Rise, and it'll be fine.
Yeah. I've just checked. I'm level 33 in Pokemon. I mean, like when I was massively into it, I used to work in town and get a train to work, and I would get into work early and then walk around town to certain gyms. And all sorts. I think I've had 2 or 3 like bouts of getting massively into it.
Mate, Go Fest this weekend.
Oh, I uninstalled it.
Did you?
It is quite a big game, so yeah.
Right, let's do a couple of questions, because my dog, I don't know if anyone who's watching the video may have noticed I've been basically fighting my dog with my left arm for the last half an hour because he's bored. So if you want to send us a question, go to tcgs.co/dear TCGS. Sky says, if Wario was ever fired from... Sky sent the last Wario question in, right?
Yes.
Okay. If Wario was ever fired from Nintendo because of excessive bathroom breaks and 3 accusations of stealing office supplies, in which Xbox/PlayStation exclusive game would he have the best chance of being hired as a character in the game? Love the show. You're doing great. Thank you, Sky. Very kind of you. Fuck, that's a good question.
And Microsoft would love a mascot like that. Isn't Marcus Phoenix or Master Chief?
Oh, you could put Wario in charge of the Horizon Festival, right?
Yes, that'd be good.
Yeah.
Get Wario and Doom.
Wario and Doom. Is it a baddie or as good as the new Doomslayer?
Maybe the new Doomslayer would be good.
Actually, yeah, because you can just fucking charge through things. Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be pretty awesome.
That would be very good. What
I mean, it's tough because if I think about Xbox franchises,
it's not that many. Yeah.
No, the new Marcus Phoenix and Gears of War.
It could be the new Halo.
Oh my, Gears of Wario doesn't work, but it almost does.
I mean, it's close enough.
Well, see, I'm looking at so he was fired because of excessive bathroom breaks, but accusations of stealing. Sea of Thieves, isn't it?
Oh my god, yeah. He would look great in art style as well, wouldn't it?
And the bathroom breaks wouldn't matter because you just pee off the edge of the boat into the water.
That's true. Or just shit in the sea. Doesn't matter.
Yeah.
No big deal.
Loads of stealing. Or my other thought was that, well, it was just accusations. And
I was going to say
bathroom breaks. Maybe he's got like IBS or something.
Yeah, could have
issues. So maybe there should be some workplace accommodations for him. And maybe he's been unfairly fired.
I mean, who grasses someone else up for stealing office supplies?
Yeah, maybe it was a targeted
attack.
A targeted attack. And maybe actually he's just made out to be the villain. Yeah. And actually, if he gets out of the toxic workplace that is Nintendo, maybe he's actually a really good guy.
Exactly.
Yeah, actually, he's actually going to flourish at Microsoft. Yeah. And he's like, actually, this is a real me all along. I'm allowed to bring my 100% of myself to work at Microsoft. And feel a lot better for it.
Yeah. Maybe he'll get to get his own game rather than having to piggyback on like another game. He'll get his own one and he'll be the hero. And he'll be he'll be better than Master Chief.
Yeah, he'll be the new Master Chief.
Maybe in the new Halo, Master Chief takes his helmet off. Oh, surprise, Wario.
And then it's been Wario all along. We've never seen Master Chief's face, right?
We haven't, and this is why they're waiting for this.
Yeah, and we just ignore the TV show.
Yes,
because everyone did anyway.
Happened, didn't it?
Yeah, not only did you see Master Chief's face, you got to see his butt as well.
Yeah.
Was there a tattoo on the butt?
It would probably be solid enough to get a decent tattoo on. To be fair.
Oh yeah, but
yeah.
Very perky. Yes. Or PlayStation exclusives. I mean, I mean, maybe they can bring back kind of PlayStation All Stars and get Wario in there, or maybe the new Last of Us.
I was gonna say, yeah, put him in the Last of Us. That makes sense.
God of Wario.
Fuck. Yes. I mean, that's better than Gears of Wario, right? God of Wario makes more sense. Maria Mendieta.
Oh dear.
Says, Dear TCGS Cold Resistance, gaming as an adult, I take much more care of my physical copies than my former self. I used to write my name on cartridges in what would be called size 50 font to prevent them from getting misplaced when I lent them to school friends. What was the worst physical damage you or others inflicted upon your games? I don't know if I ever did anything like that.
No.
I remember, I mean, this does not count. I remember I bought this awful, it was a PS2 controller, but it was like a very cheap third-party one that had motion control, like motion sensing in it,
Right.
which you could basically just assign it to like left stick or right stick, right? And you could kind of, it looked like a flying saucer. It was absolutely ridiculous. And then
What?
when the PS3 came out, I'd got a black marker pen and just wrote 6-axis on this controller.
Oh,
As a
I
joke,
love
not because I thought it was,
sounds
it's kind
pretty
of,
serious to me.
the same thing.
Sounds pretty serious to me, Sean.
Yeah.
That's brilliant.
But yeah, I mean that was already terrible, so it didn't ruin it. Made it funnier, if anything.
Yeah. I mean, there was that one point where everyone was putting Switch cartridges in their mouths or licking them.
That's true.
Yeah.
So collectively, we've all done some damage.
I mean, that damaged us more than.
I was going to say,
Well,
yeah,
it damaged society, didn't it?
Yeah. I mean,
I love that we all did that, just because we had to know.
Yeah.
If it was a wind-up, and it wasn't.
No one believed it.
Yeah.
Yeah. But
Oh,
no,
Ben's
I never.
in the chat saying he's still never done it. Grow up, Ben.
Just do it now, Ben. Come on.
Yeah,
do it now, tonight.
Yeah.
Do one thing every day that scares you. Today, that's that thing.
Just licking a Nintendo Switch cartridge.
Your chicken.
But I never did anything because like I didn't have a lot of games growing up because we just never had a lot of money.
Yep.
So yeah, I didn't ever. I looked after them, and I never lent them to people either.
No.
Because the one time I did, I lent my copy of Pokemon Red to a friend, and this was when Nintendo did like little mini like Pokemon tournaments that you could just rock up to with like your Game Boy and the cartridge, and you just played some Pokemon. And so I lent. I think I said Pokemon Red. It wasn't. It was Pokemon Blue. No, it was definitely
Fake fan.
No, just soup brain. My brain. Yeah. So I lent a friend of mine was like desperate to play it, and I was like, fine, you can borrow it, but don't save your game because it will overwrite my save. You can only ever have one save. So like, you can start a new game, just don't save it.
I know this is going.
Yeah. So obviously, I get it back the next day before we're going to this like Pokemon tournament. This was what, like 90? I would have been like 8 or 9, and then obviously I go to load it up, and I'm like, the playtime on this save on my save file. That's not what. Oh, everything's gone. All of my Pokemon are gone. Jesus. All of my level 100 Pokemon on my perfectly picked team that I was going to go and play in this tournament with.
How much time did you spend on it? Do you remember? Because I was like 250 hours or something on.
I mean,
Blue.
probably easily over 100 hours, probably. Yeah. So after that, just never. Also, like back then, you didn't. There wasn't really many. I didn't really have many friends that played games, so there wasn't really anyone to lend them to anyway. And also, the ones that did had way more than I did anyway. So, yeah, I did give an ex-boyfriend when I was like 16. I gave him my PS2 memory card so that he could do all the Blitzball grinding in Final Fantasy X because I hated Blitzball, and he was like, "No, Blitzball's great." And so I was like, "Get me Whacker's ultimate weapon then." and he did the like 20 hours worth of grinding on this one mini game, and then just gave me my memory card back and had his own weapon. It was all good.
Cool.
Wow. And you didn't
shouted
marry
at.
him.
Sorry, I'm getting shouted at by the dog. We can either have a break, or we can stop. I mean, that's all the questions.
Okay, well, shoot power through if we're so close to the end, if there's an angry dog there.
Shout in the microphone while Matt does the socials.
Okay. I'll be quick. So no stream on Thursday.
Oi. Go on, quickly.
Okay.
Matt, just be professional and power through, and then just edit the dog noises out.
Yeah.
Well, okay. So no stream on Thursday. Instead, Sean is streaming Armored Core 6 on Friday.
Yes. I don't know what's, because I'm off during the day, and obviously, hopefully, it will arrive at some point. I might do like a stream in the day and then a bit in the evening. I don't know. See how it all pans out. But yeah.
Nice. Well, that will be on twitch.tv/TCGSco. Search for TCGS in the app. There'll be a stream live at 9, maybe one in the day as well. If you miss them live, search TCGS on YouTube and you can watch the VOD probably the day after. If you're Amazon Prime, you've got Twitch Prime, connect your accounts. You get 1 free sub a month. Go to our channel. We really appreciate the free subs. We're on Patreon, which is patreon.com/TCGS for our exclusive monthly bonus podcast, which is out now. Sean and I will be playing a game together this month as part of the video show, and you can support what we do over there if you want. And the website is tcgs.co for links to our gorgeous Discord community, store, other podcasts, socials, you name it.
Cheers!
I'm keeping that sound
properly rattled. It definitely is dying for a shit. Sarah, thank you so much for joining us.
You're welcome. Thank you for having me back.
Thank you. Did a great job on the news.
Matt also,
thanks.
top stuff.
Thank you. Good to be back.
And you know what? I was great as well.
You were also good, Sean, yes.
Thank you so much for letting us be natural. Good night.
Good night.
Bye.